died in a home invasion, was a
Yeah.
home invasion. He died in such a violent way, and the violence of that time is
It
still
has
stalking the
been
streets of
magnified.
Jamaica. We're going to talk a little bit about Peter Tosh. Our guest this morning from our JPS family is Shamar Harrison. He is the unicorn of our JPS
So it's
experience.
coming. It's
This
coming live in person.
no, I think that's why he's the unicorn. He's got to maintain his mythical
To
status.
just. Oh
We're going to
boy.
be talking to him on the phone. We've had a bevy of beautiful JPS ladies that come here and terrorize Pastor Percy.
No, they don't terrorize
I
me.
just want to hear you say something about
No,
it.
man, they don't terrorize. I love
They
their
delight
presence.
you.
They
Yes.
come in, and I love their presence.
Yeah,
And the
so,
smiles, the different smiles,
and the
Gee,
energy.
yes,
Listen
that they
to me,
bring.
man. I tell you something,
Marilyn,
yeah, we could
Williams,
talk a little bit
Callum,
about
all the ladies that
the
have come.
the
But it's 4 ladies have come, and there's a lady who is regional manager for St. Catherine or something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Trying to remember her name.
But we have had a, a truly a bevy of fantastic women who have come through. Jamaica National sent us a few. When we did that, we were doing something with them. What were we doing with Jamaica National? I don't
The
even
reverse
remember.
mortgage.
But we've had like 2 or 3 persons. And then JPS just,
Let's take over the show.
yes, man. Um, I know that we have higher numbers of women in middle management positions
In
and
Jamaica.
in Jamaica. Hey, listen, how many years ago I went to New Zealand when I was in Mooting as a law student, Norman Manley Law School, and I was the person sent to represent us at the one of 2 persons who
The mooting.
at the in
What
New
is a moot
Zealand
again?
debate.
Yeah, it's just, it's,
Yeah, that
but they
is.
say moot? That
Yeah.
sounds like some animal or
Yeah,
something, but
just a point that is debated. That's, yeah. And they had a competition, Commonwealth,
yeah, what
and I
happened?
went. All of the Commonwealth countries were, first there was a preponderance of women, we can't call it bevy now, an oversupply of women on the teams.
Okay.
And
So it's a shift that's
of
happened
the
international.
all of the Commonwealth countries were reporting like 70% and up of the student population, women,
Yeah. So there's been a shift.
women. So, but listen to me, man. Me practice law 20 or 30 years. I don't want to be precise with the number, lest you do your math. But that's when I was a student. So shift.
Shift that started from 6 to 7.
I don't think you call it a shift after it's concluded.
Oh, the shift had
Yeah,
begun.
shift is when you can watch it moving.
Yeah.
It's done. It's a done deal. So, and what it means for the world, I remember at the conference, a number of us contemplating it soberly. What does it mean for the world? What does it mean for the women? Because morganetic marriages, you know what a morganetic marriage is? You're a marriage officer. When you see one coming, send them back.
What is a morganetic marriage?
Where the woman is, I'm going to say superior, but where the woman is of higher status and earning power than the man.
Oh, okay.
Not sure why Morgan lent her name to it. But they're called morganetic marriages.
Which Morgan was that?
Let me research it. History of the
Morganetic
term.
marriage.
Morganetic. Henry Morgan,
Let
Lois
me
says a
know-
pirate.
So-
That's good.
So there's a morganetic marriage.
Yes, I had to go and find out what it is. Morganetic marriage. Oh, morganetic marriage. Okay, so you want to learn about it. Morganetic marriage. Oh my goodness, it even get more offensive. Sometimes called a left-handed marriage. What on earth is going on?
So you're
Sometimes called a
left-handed.
left-handed marriage is a marriage between people of unequal social rank, which in the context of royalty or other inherited title.
Okay. So that's
We're
what it
going to
is.
find out who Morgan is. Yes. So, and here is Charles Ferdinand, Prince of Capua, with his morganatic wife, the Anglo-Irish commoner, Penelope Smith, and their daughter Victoria.
Oh, so what
it is
happened-
ancient,
it's-
people of unequal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was.
He was a prince and she was a commoner, but
Oh,
that is commonplace for the man to be of a higher rank.
it has shifted though.
Yeah, but now that is what we were talking about. What does it mean now when the woman is consistently of a higher rank than status, income, than the man. What does it mean in the development of family values, authority, male pride and self-esteem? I know I've just taken you to a place
When you
that
take
you're
me to a place,
counseling.
yeah, I'm
When
just
you,
thinking
yeah,
about
when
it,
you see it coming
and
to you,
but yeah,
when you're
when
counseling
that
people in
happens,
marriage.
I call it for what it is, and I push the button in terms of saying, are you coping well with this? Can you cope with this? Especially to the male and the female, because
Yes.
in a lot of situations, some of the times, um, the man would use it against the woman when he was in a higher position, and you don't feel no way. But when it is reversed now, and the woman is in a higher position, how do you deal with that? You know,
Yeah.
and how does the man deal with that? So it's a real issue.
It is a real
It is a
issue.
real issue now for a lot of persons who are um, getting married. I know of a couple. I know of a couple when they married. She was a dentist and he was a chef, and everybody was telling her, no, 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 but they're happily married and they have children and they are going.
You seem like you seem surprised. Well, what? See that it survived.
Yeah, it said,
Well,
yeah.
believe me, it is. Chefs are rock stars in my book. Or they
Yeah.
say it was a cook.
It was a cookie.
He was a cookist.
It was a cook.
Yeah, but you gotta elevate it
Yeah.
because
Yes.
I mean that makes
But
it.
he was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He has his own business and so on. And a lot of times, even in terms of entrepreneurial activity, catering for events, what he pulled in on a day, that's what you'd earn in a
In
month,
a
a
month,
month. You know,
right?
so the question
Yes.
is, how do you
Okay,
gauge that?
so
How do you manage that, you know?
so there are different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's social rank.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's income,
yeah,
and sometimes it's education.
yeah. And with
But
what is happening now, as you pointed out, 70% of the university graduates are
a female.
females and the males. And we say, where are the men? Where are the
Who are the men that they're gonna marry?
Yes, that's a major question that is being asked, you know. And so, yeah,
In my time, we saw one or two very brave single female lawyers in their 30s with a ticking biological clock that don't stop because you're waiting on the right partner. We saw one or two women have their kids by themselves. I say kids so that Lady Love can call me next week.
but yeah,
Gotta make sure someone calls. But no, you see women taking the decision to be single parent and having to, I'm gonna say make do, men please forgive me. They just, whomever can carry out the basic biological function, it is done. And if you want to be assured about things like race and or ethnicity and certain, then you don't want to just go to a sperm bank and
you have to
risk
check what is
being, yeah.
what are the characteristics of this donor. I
Yes.
remember seeing a movie with that, you know. Oh boy.
So no, those are real
Those are
challenges
real modern day issues that people are challenging,
yeah,
working
they're
with.
here. They're here
They're
today.
right here. I deal with it not a couples when you notice what you do. Whether it is social rank, whether it is money, whether it is education, how do you deal with that,
Yeah.
you know? And it's
Anyway,
not a simple resolution.
I digressed
But
for the
you bring it
purpose.
in.
Yeah, because on an occasion, maybe on parenting with Percy, we'll talk about it, what it means for the family dynamics.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I might tell you, I'm just reflecting on that in terms of things that even now you have to be counseling with people, walking people through the experience. And I say to people all the time, you know, I love God. Why do I love God? Because he gave
lovable?
us, no, he gave us freedom of choice. Yes, he first loved me and I'm loving him back. But you know what your issues are. And when I begin the counseling process, I say to them, I'm just facilitating you here because your issues are real. And I want you to know what the issues are so you know what
So
you're going into.
Yes.
And they say,
Yes.
I say, yeah, that's what I'm here. I'm just a facilitator. And guess
Right.
what? I have the boxing gloves too in the place. So sometimes when
I
the
thought
issue
at that
arises,
point you're the referee or the boxer.
no, the referee
Oh,
give them the two boxing gloves and says, okay,
have at it.
go have a titan, but you must have a resolution. You must come to a
Yeah.
resolution. You
Yeah.
must have dialogue. You must talk about it because it's important. And to know that it does not become the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about.
And then everybody start to live on that different part of the
But
elephant.
yeah, understand. No, but no, it's a real thing. It's a real issues that we have to deal with. But I always believe there's a resolution.
Oh my, good morning, Keon Brown Online. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for the extension of time. Keon did, and you know, I forgot about it, but he's very generous. He says, I've given you an extension on work, overdue. There's a lot to address. Anyway, in your own time. Free West Papua, now Indonesia. He did raise it with me, you know, and I want Jamaicans to be aware of the
What is
struggle
happening
in other parts of the world.
Yeah, West
Oh
Papua New
my
Guinea.
goodness, thank you, Keon. I'm going to attend to it. I have to tell you though that I will be out for 10 days, traveling to
another place.
to far parts.
And I'll be traveling with her too.
Yes,
In
so
my dreams.
oh, I thought you were gonna make it a reality.
Yes, man.
How you tease me?
Hey, you're always doing it, so must get back some
How
of it.
you tease me?
You must get back some of it. But
so yeah, when I come back, I'm gonna use the time to develop something interesting that can draw Jamaicans into an awareness of what's happening, and see if we can't get online and begin to put
push it,
some
yeah.
some power behind it, along with you. You know, when things are happening in Jamaica, that we want the eyes of the world to look at us and to add their weight to a resolution, we sure do appreciate people getting the word out. So I appreciate you, Mr. Brown. I hope it's Mr. Brown. Some of these names are so androgynous. This one is Keyon. It's a man, you think?
probably
Keon, tell me. I don't want to be...
Keon.
Keon, Keyon. Yes. Tell me if you're a boy or girl, in the basic sense of the word.
And he's from UK.
Yeah. Do you know, Pastor, last night, a friend of mine called me from London, and she was saying, you know, sorry you haven't heard much from me, but we had a massive data ransom event in the health sector in England.
Data ransom event? You mean that somebody hacked
Somebody
into
hacked it, and the healthcare system,
Shut
the
down.
part that she works in, client files are gone. People who have appointments. She says she leaves her home 4 a.m. She's been working, managing a team of persons, trying to contact people, rebuild.
So
And
there are real issues in regards to when people are talking about needs and somebody is going to hack the system and hold
yes,
it. Hold
but
the
look
people ransom.
look what happened with the Massey company.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about it in the media now. I saw something on it. They put out something concerning it. They were hacked. Massive distribution statement. We take very seriously the obligations we have as a data controller under the Jamaican law, as well as our duty to those we serve. They were hacked.
You know, I've seen this guy, he's
Yeah.
running a cyber
Cyber
security.
attack is a crime.
Yeah.
Criminals, but what they do, and it's kind of like, listen to me, you gotta, let me tell you,
Tell you where it
it's
has
a
gone
crime.
internationally.
It's a crime because we've made it a crime, and because for the most part it breaches. It's like trespass. It's like if somebody came
trespass
into your
on
house
somebody's property.
and took out your papers and plastered it all over
Well
the
placed.
place. So now all your business can be read by all and sundry. It's a crime. We've made it a crime. But Wikipedia, there are many, Wikipedia, WikiLeaks. Yes, there are many open source, public access sites with information that have caused massive changes in how the world
It does
does
things.
things. And the changes have been for the better of the people. So you got to look at these things with a certain knowledge and understanding as I get the signal, which
we
I was
talk
trying
about
to
this.
ignore.
Yeah,
It's
but
7 a.m. Let's take our break, and I still haven't told you what our guest is coming to talk about.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876 276 8935. That's 276 8935. Best one.
Welcome to the Ligony Club. This beautiful property is nestled in the heart of New Kingston and is the single largest sporting facility in the English-speaking Caribbean. JD's Urban Pub is our resident restaurant. You can trust them with all your catering requirements. Take advantage of our excellent amenities and allow yourself to be pampered by our courteous and efficient staff in the comfort of our well-appointed and welcoming public spaces. You are being invited to make this your home away from home. Take advantage of our full-service gymnasium. Our 8 tennis courts. Feel free to wander through the gardens and enjoy the relaxing atmosphere of this oasis that remains as charming today as when we first opened our doors in 1910, and our large-sized swimming pool. 6 squash courts. In the evenings, relax with us in the lobby bar and lounge. Call or visit us today. We're excited to meet you. Good morning and welcome back to the Ayabingi 2. Okay.
If I pronounce it right, has
Mm.
assured me that he's male.
Yes.
So Keon, right?
And
Um,
64 too.
yeah. First of all, Lowell is pronouncing the name correctly for me. Keon,
You have the key.
Keon. Yeah.
You have the
Because
key
I
and
know
moving
another.
on.
Yeah. Okay. I made a brief reference to the Massey. They've called it a
The,
cybersecurity incident.
somebody hacked them.
So they were hacked.
And
And
somebody
I
hold them to ransom and say, if you don't pay this money, which is a big thing in the world now, guys just
ransomware.
ride from all over the world, spend time just hacking into it. I remember somebody was relating to me that they have a hackathon where them give them a program and ask them, "Do you think you can hack this?" And they pay them for doing it. So then they now use that information to boost up,
To
so,
close
yeah,
the weaknesses
yeah.
in their network. But I don't think theirs was a ransomware experience unless they did not pay the ransom. Because the ransomware experience is where it's a kidnap. They hold your data.
Ransom. Hold you
Yes,
ransom.
they hold it at ransom. And if you pay, they release.
Yeah, but
But if you don't pay, they dump your data in various public quarters and you're scrambling and it costs you a lot more
to do
to,
that.
to recover because you lose business with customers being, peed off because of your carelessness in having weak security gates.
And that was a major thing and continues to be a major concern. It was alleged during the last elections in the States that that happened.
I think it's beyond allegation. It was settled.
Yeah.
It was
Uh,
settled that there was interference.
yeah. And then now this guy in LA gone to prison because he was had a major thing. And I said, but how you so lax? We can make that happen. So me saying, wow. But it is unfortunate. But now, in terms of commercial interest, with a lot of things online, you have to be so careful. Because in the States recently, with the line, them just that operate the, the supply of energy is a major ransomware. Like the guys had to pay 5 or 6 million US dollars for the people to release it.
Of course, we don't want persons to become unduly paranoid about the digital world that is here. The first reason not to be paranoid is because it's here. And no amount of fear and anxiety is going to
It's
send
how
it
to be
away.
prepared.
It is how to be prepared. We did that series on digital literacy some months ago, and you
Professor
really,
Golden, big you up if you're
yes,
listening
and
to us.
we really should visit with him again.
Yeah, great guy.
Because you really can't stop putting the information out. Massive distributors, their distribution company is in a range of industries.
Wow.
And all the customers, their commercial clients and so on, whose information sits in their database were vulnerable, compromised. Here they are explaining that, let me see what they said. We have been and continue to notify all parties whose personal or sensitive corporate information may be at risk. We continue to assure them of the steps that we are taking to greater protect our network. What's critical about it is what happened to Massey can happen to your bank, can happen to your building society, can happen to your members club, can happen to any place that you have a relationship with in the digital space. And they know, I mean, first thing, things like credit card expenditures
Oh,
and so on.
Jesus. Somebody say, wipe it off, so give me a clean credit card. I can do that for you.
But do you understand what can happen in this environment? Someone can hack a bank and remove from it all traces of the money they owe them.
Imagine that. We're
In
not
fact,
putting in ideas in
no,
anybody's head.
no, but it's not anything. We know that everybody who have computer know this. As you are moving, just like how you can go to a building that houses the records of your wrongdoings and burn it down. the evidence lab, just as what you can do in the physical world to destroy the information that is needed to prosecute or enforce an obligation. You do it in the digital world and it costs less. You stay at your yard and you set it up through every type of network connections that are, if not hard to trace, if not untraceable, very hard to trace. And you execute what you're doing. And there are people, just the way you can hire someone to go assassinate the witness,
Yes, it's true.
you can hire someone to ferret out the information. And let me tell you, the world is there's a whole new set of crimes that you don't even want to understand. And none of them involve, what you call it now, an assault against the person.
No.
Not
No.
one. They don't
Like even a
touch you, you don't
major
even
thing
know
that happened,
it has
identity
happened.
theft, which is a major thing now.
Yes.
And you have to be protecting it
You have to
because
be, right.
Because you hear people saying, somebody come and say, oh, you know that happened to me, right? I told that story.
No, you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it happened to me.
Was it with a driver's license?
With my driver's license.
Yes,
Yes.
you did,
Man,
you did.
somebody called me and said, Mister, you're not coming to pay for the thing. I
You
said,
book a contract in your name.
I said, paying for what? We want to know if you're going to continue to keep the scaffolding or you're going to come finish paying. I said, what? So they called my wife first, and I was saying, my wife said, what? No, she said, no.
Not Percival Palmer.
It cannot be us because we live in a place and we're not
See, if your
responding.
wife were a different woman now, she
Should I-
would say, Percy, I build house
What's
in
that?
woman a
And
country.
I tell me. Tell me about that, you know.
Pack up our
But
things
I
and
got-
move
I
the kids.
move out, I come and say, so anyway, what happened? You not tell me say I move out, so me gone.
me say I build house.
Talk about.
Okay, we know that's not possible in any lifetime. That Percival Palmer belongs to a woman a country.
Lord have mercy.
And rent scaffolding.
I know, I tell you.
Yeah, that could be difficult.
No, it would be difficult. No, sir.
All right, so that fantasy aside, let me say something on this matter of the cybersecurity incidents, which are becoming more and more frequent in Jamaica. And quite honestly, I think it is happening a lot, and people are not saying
People
because
not
they
saying
don't
it
want
at
us
all,
to panic.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially with the banks. I think the banks are losing money.
But they're
The
not.
fact of the matter is, I don't even know. They know what they've lost. Because do you know when you wipe the trace of something from the system, you don't know that it was ever there?
Oh, jeez. They're putting ideas
There
in
was
somebody else.
there was a bit of fraud being executed. I think it was Wells Fargo. Somebody was taking like pennies, not even pennies, fraction of pennies
Over a period of time.
over a period of time, just because math being finite, but in terms of what you can hand to your customer, you can't hand them a fraction of a cent.
Right.
So the fractions were being added up
Over time.
over
And
time,
somebody just take it
and
out.
then they just
How much money that ended up being in the
They
check?
did not know.
Oh, Lord.
You can't know because after you've doctored the books, but no single customer would say they suffered a loss. I mean, even like in telecoms, when you price, if you say a call is 1 cent a minute, and it's pro rata, and you spend 30 seconds on the call, that's half a cent. But who's going to pay you half a cent? Until you get 20 half cents, you don't have any real currency that you can you can work with. So
By giving people ideas, you know.
I am. It sounds like I'm giving you ideas.
I mean like when we're talking about the JPS score. What's the JPS score?
You were busy running an investigation.
I try to find out what it was.
So somebody who's watching the system now just say, all right, may wait until you get 20 half pennies and then I scrape it off. Usually the bank would keep that and somebody would somehow, you keep pushing it into an account that balances the books, but it's not money that belongs to any one individual. I don't even know what they do with it, really.
Oh, my Lord.
Well,
it adds up, they accumulate
yes.
it, and
Somebody
they put it in some account, and then at some point in time, the account and move it over.
move it to
I
somewhere,
wouldn't-
right? And it goes into, it's somewhere there. But somebody had begun to just take from it. They had some incident in a bank where they caught caught on to someone who was doing that. The funny thing is, when you are using a paper-based accounting system that you have to write a document and leave a trail, do you know that is actually harder, unless you burn it up, that's actually harder to mess with.
Yeah, that's true.
When it is on a digital,
Oh, Lord have
take
mercy.
it out, it's gone.
Oh, my Lord.
Man have to know. And if you're doing millions of transactions, who's going to check every one of them to recognize that, hey, there's money to be made in this digital economy?
No, it is kind of serious.
But there is something that we need to address in Jamaican law. I'm going to mention it as we are doing just because we're talking on this issue. The Americans have a doctrine which they call fruit of the poisoned tree. If you take the fruit from a poisoned source,
Yes.
it's inedible. You
Good.
cannot use it for any good purpose.
That's correct.
Right. In the world of criminal litigation and liability,
Yes.
it means that if you broke into a man's house and find something that incriminates him, you can't use it to prosecute him.
Okay.
Sounds unfair. Does it sound unfair?
We can understand that. So that's why a lot of people get off.
People will get off because they don't address the crime. They address the method by which the evidence was obtained.
So that is why they says if you knowingly, you see it in movies, in movies, and they say, no, we can't use that evidence because we obtained it wrong. You see it a lot of the time.
In the right way.
And they say, but
And
your honor,
yes.
your honor, but your honor say,
But
well,
see there, he took a selfie with the corpse. How did he?
and
So-
then you go, you hack into the man phone.
But that's how you got it, by hacking. Okay, that's why I'm mentioning it. You hear me say all the time that in the administration of justice, every time you mount a prosecution against an individual, the system is also on trial.
Yeah.
Because the state must use the same principles of fairness, transparency, honesty, justice, whatever. All of those, the state must observe them in how it treats with the citizen, even a guilty citizen.
Yeah, but you made that.
So you're tested. Now,
Because some of it, finish your point,
Yes.
I want to make a point.
if, when like the WikiLeaks and so on took place, a lot of information that the public needed to know to really understand what was going on in
Yeah,
some
this
places
is
that locked them out of information became accessible.
And the
So it
gentleman
was,
to run for him life.
yeah, I think he got,
Snowden,
has,
Russian
yeah,
citizen.
he's a Russian citizen, but too old to go to war. So,
Yes, he can't go to war.
so the Americans can't capture him on the front line.
Because what he did was to reveal to a lot of people things that people suspected,
Aye.
but you never had
were
any
being
evidence.
denied
You never had the
access
evidence.
to
And
the
now you see-
information, or people outright lie to you and say, I know, so it go. And then you see that, let me tell you, earlier you said God is good. God is really good, because he gives man, in our vanity, we still record our crimes. Say you do foolishness, but you keep a careful note of the foolishness you're doing. No matter what, we are still a people who want to record our activities.
Yeah, that's how they incriminate a lot of people
And
now.
self-incrimination.
Yeah,
That's why
because
there's a law against self-incrimination. If you happen to find my diary,
It's not a law against stupidity.
it's a law against stupidity.
But when you think,
I mean,
it
we're
got-
getting, this is Free Flowing Thursday, so pardon us. We're going all over the place with it. But
No, but what is an important point you're making? That even with some of the cases that are out there, the
Yep.
system is on trial.
the system is on trial.
How low will you
And
go in order to,
to make your
the
case.
Yeah, because remember, there is a recent thing where this lady was disbarred.
Yes, the attorney.
Yeah,
came in-
because
that came to mind too, because she went too low.
Yeah,
She knew there was evidence that could be exculpatory.
Yeah.
And she didn't present. She didn't
and,
share
and-
it.
Yeah, and so the question
And
is
that's
now,
unethical. And the truth of it is, when you associate it with principles of honesty, fairness, and justice, it is unethical.
yeah,
It
but-
is wrong to know that this could help Percy and withhold it.
Yeah, but I was thinking about it in terms of the criminal enterprise, because that's what it really is in our country. Them say to catch a thief, you have to think like
You
a
have to
thief.
think like a thief.
So in thinking like the thief, you do the methodology that they would use, but what you do? What do you do with it? Can you carry it to the court? Because if you carry it to the court, they're going to throw it out. That's how we get this
You get to
evidence
get
first.
it the right, yeah. No, in Jamaica, that doctrine don't exist. That's where I was going.
Why don't exist?
The Court of Appeal told me affirmatively when it was put forward, yeah, in a case that I was doing.
So that you
They said that's an American principle. It don't exist in Jamaica. We don't
don't
care if
come
the
on with
tree
it.
is poisoned. We eat the fruit.
Okay.
It's an American principle.
So that means that.
So my point is that that law will need to change. That law will need to change because if someone commits a crime to get your information and that information pops up in a prosecution against you or the tax authorities are using it to assess you for let me tell you what I think the massive customers are exposed to.
Yeah.
The bulk of the transaction they do, which may be discernible from the purloined records, might not match back with what they report.
Okay. Internally.
I'm gonna see the fruit of the poison tree doctrine enter Jamaica very shortly because people who want to keep certain things secret will not want to risk that information is hacked.
Oh, geez.
Whether it is hacked from their own system, because one of the things that I'm sure you know it from your time in corporate Jamaica, one of the things is that you might be underreporting to government, but internally you can't underreport because you don't want the same people who are doing the underreporting for you to rob you. If you think about it.
No, but it's true.
You and I are in a conspiracy to say we only got 10. But we know we got 15.
Uh-oh.
If there is no record of the 5 to keep us honest, somebody can take 1, 2.
Take 5.
And,
I never know.
and
you can't say nothing because there's only 10 you
only
get.
10 you
only get 10 you get, but you say about internally they have stolen 5.
Yes, yeah. Stolen, it didn't exist.
Yes, yes. You report to police
Yes.
say, but the record says only 10 come in.
There you go.
Oh, no.
So at some point, you're going to see some laws changing to ensure that when people hack your information and put it out there, government of Jamaica can't resort to it for taxation purposes. The police can't use it to make moves against you that could put you in greater jeopardy than just the loss of your information.
Honesty.
And the reason I say it is that you will not see a doctrine like that be driven from the perspective of the people who need to be covered by it in the ordinary man. You're going to see it shift because big money, corporate interests recognize that, hey, this is an area of vulnerability that we can't tolerate because no matter how good your security systems are, a man can breach it either internally or from an external source. And if your information gets out there, like you see for, various criminal activities, you'll hear the police say, and we went on their social media page, and we saw something on Facebook, or we saw something on Instagram, and they are pulling from these public sources. But they can also pull from a site where a hacker dumps the information that he has stolen. Or they can hire a hacker
to do it.
We can't do it. We have no order to intercept this information, or we tried and we're not getting it. Let's just use one of our experts to break into the system.
Yeah, because that's how a lot of systems are tested. Somebody set up a security system and say, no, okay, see if you can break into the system, which is what companies like the BMW do, because now people don't even know that the kind of technology in those kind of cars. A man can hack into the thing and just shut you down. You drive, you drive and you go in.
Can I tell you? My sister said to me, I haven't even said it to Lowell because I was so intrigued by it. She has a Mercedes in the state where she lives. And she saw a message come up that said, count down to 10 for something with a diesel, some additive that she needs to put in her car to make the thing perform more efficiently. And they're watching it go from 9, 8. When it got to 1, didn't appreciate that it gave you 10 times to start the car without refilling this additive. And when it got to zero, the car would not start. It is something to reduce the harmful emissions.
Yeah. So
So
they
they
put it in. They put it in the
so
car.
now, so now the car won't start. You have to get truck and flatbed
Pull
to
it.
move it to get it. What it has transpired that they did put in the additive, but the sensor is bad, and so the car is not sensing that.
The additive are
That's
gone.
that's the kind of car. If better you have a, what is it, a Toyota? No, every
You take
car.
every car nowadays. That's why I did this.
She said they were watching this thing and wondering what's gonna happen when it gets to zero.
And it happened.
Anyway, she has some, and I said, so you have to pay to get a thing to move it? She said, well, she has some roadside assistance something. Let's take our break. It's 7:31.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Welcome back. It's now 7:36 by my clock. In the next hour, we're going to welcome our friends from JPS. It's going to be online. You won't see. Shamar has not made himself physically available. So I continue to call him the unicorn, the only male in a string of highly trained professionals that JPS has shared with us. And we're looking forward to speaking with him. We're going to have some conversations about the cost of electricity and how we can, as users, exercise greater independence and control over our consumption. I see a message from Earl about the camera. You could check out what Earl is saying to us online. Welcome, Conrad. I guess I hear that Canada is beginning to get cold.
You hear?
Yes. I hear that it's beginning. Well, I will not be experiencing it, but I look forward to seeing. Earl is so funny. Earl said we got hacked.
I believe it was shut down by some security. Right, earlier you're giving us even more kudos than we deserve. Oh boy.
That. Oh, okay. But to the point you were making, it is that easy now, and persons need to be aware of it, that all the vehicles which have these computerized
Can be controlled remotely.
systems can be accessed and controlled remotely, and not always by a friendly person. For example, here's a thing that's to come. When people give you car loans, the repo man don't need to come out and hunt you down now, They just shut down your car wherever you are. You might be driving on the road, and can you imagine if you're driving on the road and your loan payment goes into over whatever and you're on your way, your car just shut down.
Big brother.
Big brother, watching from the sky. Big collector.
No, bill collector, but no, big brother.
Yeah.
Just is monitoring and watching everything, and which is something that has happened with the recent pandemic and the shutdown and the monitoring, like in China with the social credit that you mentioned in our thing, that people, you misbehave yourself, then shut you down.
Or you can't progress.
Well, you can't do anything.
And you know what? From an anti-corruption perspective, that is a laudable objective, because we constantly look around and say, but look at me. I'm doing my job. I'm holding my end of the deal under the covenant in my country. I can't progress. I look across there and every manner of things and persons who are not similarly compliant and useful in the society are making strides ahead of me, because they are prepared, they are cutting corners, they have a network of persons who facilitate them. And that is a nice segue into the front page news that you and I are going to talk about. Because when we appeared before the Integrity Commission,
Yesterday,
we made mention of a number of things which we will revisit, but we see them coming to fruition on the front page now. J.C. Hutchinson. Do you remember when I lamented the Prime Minister's excess in sending bulldozers for the 2.5 acres of land? All right, Mr. J.C. Hutchinson, who 2 years ago came into the news with the 1,400 acres of land involving his son and his common law partner, is back in the news courtesy of the Integrity Commission.
again?
He's back in the news. This time, the crimes are, to me, of a graver nature. You know why I say that? Last time, he was found out and the story was out, and I'm not even quite sure what became of it outside of the fact that he was demoted because he was Minister of Agriculture. What is he now? Don't know. Is he? He's a state minister, so he's still on the team. He might be the water carrier now, but he's still on the team. This time, the report from the Integrity Commission, which the Gleaner describes as a damning report, issued on Wednesday, the day after we were before them. We were in Parliament. This time, he is on record for having lied blatantly lied. Are you pulling up the report?
Yeah.
For having lied to the Integrity Commission officers in the conduct of their investigation. We made the point that there should be some level of administrative action, meaning non-criminal, just
Right,
what
that's
the
correct.
administrators do in the ordinary course of their business. There should be some level of administrative action that could put a halt to these breaches by public officials in the execution of their duty. I'm not saying it was rejected, but I'm saying if such provisions were in existence when J.C. Hutchinson misbehaved 2 years ago, when it came out that he misbehaved 2 years ago, action could have been taken against him, which would have forestalled the behavior that we now see being reported on. Unless, of course, that was going on before.
Okay.
And we only just find out. So here's what they say happened. The report, the conclusion of the Integrity Commission is that Mr. Hutchinson directly and or ostensibly authorized the named person who was coordinating his constituency development fund to recommend a company, ProStar Electrical and Construction, a private entity owned by Hutchinson's own son, for the award of contracts. They found evidence that the person had signed correspondence on behalf of Mr. Hutchinson, requesting payment. So he's not only instructed that the award got to him, but he's now part of the effort to collect the money. What would that mean? That would mean if the minister is asking for his son to be paid and other persons are in line for payment, who you think get paid first?
The son.
The son gonna get paid first. So you see the ways in which the exerting that kind of influence immediately begins to mess up the actual operations of the fund. But what caught my eye wasn't the main crime which he committed, because
I'm asking about 20 times.
it is how he responded to the investigators.
Let me say.
I'm going to tell you how we respond first. I want you to hear it, and then I'm going to tell you what they recommended, and you will see why I'm on this point. The MP was asked if he had any affiliation and or association with any individual or entity on whose behalf he facilitated a recommendation to the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation for the award of a contract between January 2016 and January 2021. So it was going on right up to last year. In his response, Hutchinson said
2016 to
2021, so a long
5
period
years
of time
now.
I'm going with it. Yes. In his response, Hutchinson said, I am not affiliated or associated in any way with any individual or entity on whose behalf I facilitated a recommendation to the municipal corporation for the award of a government contract. Just the phrasing of that answer tells me too that he had lawyers.
Yeah. So as I tell him, say
He had lawyers.
Yeah.
And this is always a matter of great perplexity to me.
By
that
perplexity, the lawyers.
professionals participate in the commission of this. I'm telling it right now, and maybe that's why I am not a lawyer. You are brought to me like this, and I say ProStar, and me do my own search, and you send upon it, and I write this nonsense, you need another person to do that.
Who write? You mean the author of the article or the?
No, I'm saying
the lawyers,
J.C.
right?
Hutchinson in an investigation by the Integrity Commission is not going in there just with him and in Deacon. They always pull for the church at times of crisis. But he's not going in there solely on the prayers, I'm saying. He's going to get a lawyer. Somebody.
To advise him to
Yes.
what he must do.
And you see, like when people like Homer Davis say you must turn in the criminals and people must stop supporting criminals, this is what he should be talking about.
But they're not
because
going to talk
Mr.
about
Hutchinson
that. Because they're not going to
many other persons would have known that Mr. Hutchinson and his son have a relationship.
But
It's
that's
not like they are strangers
but
or
it, but you
it's his
see,
son. But you might say, man, you're not affiliated with his son because we not talk with malice from.
no,
But you get the point I'm
no,
making.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But it let's pull away
Yes.
what we are seeing, what we are viewing. Report came out. Jamaicans feel this is the most corrupt government.
But you and I were in a place.
No, but me I go to Parliament. That's my next
Yes.
point. And I said to them,
Trust.
albeit that the thing are not synchronized in terms of the representation that we are making, you are missing the main issue here. People them not trust you.
They don't trust you.
And this
here's why.
institution that you are now presently reviewing, you can give it more teeth. And people are making representation too. I want to say, we
It's
are
independent.
it's
We
not-
don't interfere.
it's not only independent, but we are erring on the side of caution that them don't go out, they go
Smear.
talking, just smear their body and
Smear
you have
the
to
name
pay
of-
for it.
Well-
But the truth is,
well,
these
see?
guys don't do this. Them not release something and them not check it because they are professionals.
Listen to me. They're quoting Hutchinson. He said, I'm not affiliated. Then he was asked specifically whether the company ProStar Electrical and Construction had ever been awarded a contract by the municipality
No.
between 2016 and 2021.
And say no. You must say no.
They said no. The commission made an unannounced visit to the municipality in January 2021 to got a statement from their director of finance, including vouchers, copy checks, and check stubs. We have
Somebody
to
call
applaud
it.
them, you know.
Somebody
no,
call it.
they did a, what you call it now?
The same thing
They-
that was
yeah,
they
they-
made the word talking about form and substance.
Yeah, they didn't give a notice that they're coming.
Right.
But they have the authority to do that. They
yeah,
just
but
did that.
remember there was a major point again by one of the senators.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to us what you mean by this form and substance thing. And they said, but we
They don't have to serve no notice.
no, but I am saying to you,
Yes.
this is what we are saying. Give the Integrity Commission more teeth.
Power and authority to do
get
their
the
work.
stuff done. Because they say, yeah, it's an act of parliament, but they can't do anything unless they report to parliament. Not true? Don't say go?
Yes, yeah.
So somebody says, send all the reports come to parliament.
Yeah, man.
But
Report
if-
to us every day,
but
and
if
then
it-
nobody
and it-
reading it.
Yeah, but if you no, but you see the thing, you see, you can send all the reports and it is stable, but you don't see the light of day.
Yeah. They must report to the public, directly to us, publishing a report. Anyway, we're going back, so we'll get a chance to say it. Still, so what was bothering me in this is that Mr. Hutchinson and his son, no doubt, because they said Jason Hutchinson also denied receiving contracts. Having done this, all that the Integrity Commission had the authority to do
That's to publish it.
was to, I'm going to tell you what it says they did. The chief investigator concluded they had done these things. They asked for Parliament to take some,
Action.
yeah, I'm going to read it, I saw it. I'm going to find it. I want to be precise.
Yeah, but,
in the
remember,
language.
a point was raised by someone. Can, having received clearance in the past.
Yes, here it is. Would you like to hear it, sir?
Yeah, say it and then
All
read,
right.
yeah.
So in his report to Parliament, Stevenson described Hutchinson's conduct as appalling, noting that his actions may have damaged public confidence in Jamaica's governance arrangements. The Director of Investigations recommended that Prime Minister Holness and Speaker of the House, is Dalrymple Philibert,
yeah.
implement such sanctions which are both commensurate with the seriousness of his conduct and inspire public confidence in government. So after all of that work, and after all of
They can't do nothing. They
they,
can't do
all
nothing.
they
Their
can
hands are
say is,
bound.
please, Mr. Prime Minister, do something that will show that the thing is serious and inspire confidence in the government. That's it. That's it. He can't demote him again. What am I going to do with him now?
kick him out of parliament. But it's not him elect him as senator.
But
The point
yeah.
is, the point that I was making, I remember when we're in the gathering, we're watching, and somebody says, so Percival get a clearance in a 2015.
Yes, that's what this was about. That and the other one. I soon tell you.
Percival get a clearance in a 2015. Can you, in 2022, go back and say, hold on, Percival, tell me this in a 2015, But me I check, but this now make no sense. So the person was asking, can you uncertify?
No, not uncertified. He says if you've already certified for a previous period, can you reopen?
Yes, which is what has
Can
happened.
you reopen questions already answered and closed from that period in the past?
And they said yes, we
They
can.
said yes.
Because we have the records. It's like, it's not like it's cybersecurity. You can't wipe it off in a black and white.
And too many other people are holding
Yeah,
copies.
and then and because I know, because my wife had to submit it, and they asked, and only she alone, and they asked for my business too. Did you know that?
Yes, because she can hide her business under your business.
Yeah, and the children, them, and my granny, them too.
Yeah.
So that is how it becomes so intrusive, People don't even know. So it's not only the politician.
The sacrifice you make as a civil servant. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were quick to point out, remember, I know it's not only we, but you set the standard. I want that people recognize
and
that.
we don't see reports coming out about the people way down in the ranks or, we are seeing the reports about the people at the top. Yeah. They are the ones who are breaching it. And now you hear that when it is time for punishment, they have to set their own punishment. Mr. Holness is to punish Mr. Hutchinson when it is already clear that him don't have
there's no independence. So it just underscores the point.
We're definitely going back.
Yeah, it just underscores the point of what really needs to happen. When you think about it, I said to myself, the independence thing, whether you go republic or not, you must have to give the people leeway to do something that says to the people, hold on, this thing can't work.
Yeah, man, you can sanction them.
Time come that they can sanction the minister.
They can
some administrative thing.
Yes, I believe they can. And when you go to face the polls and you carry behind you one long list of sanctions from the Integrity Commission, the people can decide whether they want you.
Yeah, the people say no.
By the way, Liz Truss has resigned.
You kidding me?
Yes. Breaking news. Straight Up says, good morning, breaking news. Liz Truss resigns as UK MP. But the people are starting to quit around her again.
As MP?
Like they did. Yeah. As UK PM, sorry.
Okay, so they have to get a new Prime Minister. So Sanjay will get it then.
Finally a black man?
No, he is an Indian.
Yeah,
he was a minister of the Exchequer. I remember the guy who was the chancellor was a black man.
Conrad said Lizzie can't stand the heat.
Because they mistrust her. There's a play on her name.
And Earl points out that when you're using a cell phone at airports, the call goes through a security device before it goes to the cell tower. Big brothers are listening in, and rightly so, because that's how people blow up things. The irony is that based on newspaper stories over the weekend, the Prime Minister and the Speaker themselves need to be reported to someone. This is straight up. I thought he was still talking about London, but as soon as I read it, I realized he's talking about us. He said based on weekend reports, the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, and the same Speaker who are to set. And you see, herein lies the issue of conflict, Because when you now must set a punishment, you're to sanction somebody who has lied to the Integrity Commission investigators, and the lie was to cover up another breach. It's not like him never remember or him forget or whatever, He outright lied. And then what he lied about was an infraction which was committed under his signature. That's a double breach. And you to sit and make a sanction for that man, while you yourself, the declaration cannot be
the light of day.
And the only reason a declaration can't stand up to the light of day is that it don't add up.
The numbers are not adding up.
And why shouldn't it add up when you close the last season with one number? Shouldn't it be carrying forward with some clarity?
So
even
that question
the fact
that was
that it
asked.
don't add up, cast doubt on what the last number was.
Yeah, that's what. Remember the famous question when we were watching the
That is
select
why I
committee.
know. Yes. Minister Chuck asked if you get clearance for a prior period, can the commission reopen that period in a subsequent year? And the commission unequivocally said, yes,
Yes,
we
we
can.
can.
If we have information
Yes,
in the
we
current
must.
period
Yes,
which
we can.
casts doubt on a prior statement that was accepted, we have a duty to inquire.
Yes, we can.
And the
Yes, we
people
must.
applaud them for that. And now we see it coming up because the other headline is for Mr. Samuda. Mr. Samuda and the Mombasa grass was scolded again. I can understand his irritation because he thought that was behind him. But you know, those grass just keep growing. He thought that it had been dug up and buried and whatever. And it has come up again with, this time though, what the commission is saying, and we applaud them for that too. They're saying
Coming
that
like
they
it was the thing before the storm, the real storm, the hearing. It went Tuesday.
yes,
Because it looked like they
look at
must say,
that.
watch around now.
Yeah, because they did say to them, but you have powers, use it.
All right.
Well, here's why the Mr. Samuda's name came up. The commission says that Prime Minister Holness and House Speaker Marissa Dalrymple Philibert should take such action as may be necessary and sufficient to acknowledge that Samuda's conduct was reprehensible and assure the public that such conduct is unacceptable.
And him
We-
say it's abject garbage. That's the man who said nothing happened in the international, in the overseas program.
Yes.
Yes, I went and it was okay.
That was garbage. So he should know garbage.
Yeah,
Now,
Jesus.
understand what the commission has done. The commission is now pointing fingers at Parliament, at not Parliament in the whole form, but they're looking at the Prime Minister, the chief servant, and the Speaker of the House, who is in charge of the conduct of the officials in the House, and he is censuring them for not having taken action concerning what they call the ethically reprehensible conduct of Senior Government Minister Carl Samuda.
Because the figure say, hello, you're a minister, you know.
But that,
That is my thing. Me can do anything me want.
Who,
I mean, I can't
Samuda?
for anybody. That's how they operate, you know.
yeah, but Mr. Samuda is saying, and Mr. Samuda may be right, Mr. Samuda is saying, you had an investigation, I came to you, I showed you everything, why are you drawing me back into it? But he's not Samuda they're drawing back in, you know. They are now censuring Holness and Speaker of the House for having done nothing about the report they made on Mr. Samuda. And it's an important distinction to be made because when we were there, we were saying the public is looking on and the public is seeing that when you make your reports and you find your evidence of wrongdoing, nothing happens. You need to have the ability, the power to do something.
Which is
And
what you
you
were pushing
can
for.
do, there are things you can do. Make them up. There's administrative action of every type that you could take, which can have an impact on the person's
Elect people in
future
them pocket.
as a representative of the people. The commission is here saying, we can't do anything but report. We have reported. You who got the report did nothing. And you must do something, or you ought to, because they can't say must. They say you should take such action as to show that the conduct is unacceptable. I have one thing for the commission as I take the break. You have the power under the existing law to impose codes of conduct on every government agency. Do it. Just like how you are censuring the Prime Minister and the Speaker of the House, we are calling you out on the carpet now because you have power. You could have set the behavior, the standards of behavior for them and the penalties where they misbehave. Let's take our break.
Parliament.
Welcome back as we close off this segment in order to go on and deal with our JPS cost of electricity issue. I just wanted to wrap up with Pastor Percy on these issues pertaining to the Integrity Commission.
It's a major thing, major.
Yeah.
And I think those two reports that have come, one with J.C. Hutchinson, one with the Integrity Commission again, calling out the Parliament and the leaders in Parliament. Because remember, the Mombasa grass thing is stale news according to
Yes.
Mr. Samuda, but they weren't talking to him. They were saying, but we want you to act, the leader,
Yes.
the Speaker of the House and the Prime Minister to act, because
Yeah, and that's what the people want too.
yeah, because it's time for action. It's not going away if people understand.
So look at it. We, the people, want them to act. The Integrity Commission, who is the agency with responsibility for these matters, they're in the same position as us.
Yeah. And
That ought not to be.
no,
They should have been able to carry out some sanction on their own, and that is what we were recommending.
independent of saying
that-
to the Parliament, because they say they're independent of us, really, no. But if I find something, you can't say you never do it. But they may have to come back to you and say, you must do something about it. How independent am I? No, is that, no, of a reality, that's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
It's an independent, and they were very keen to point that out. But then where's the
they-
independence that you have to come back to Parliament, you have to issue a report, and then you have to wait and then to act to do something about what they did? Because they don't really have any powers, you know,
So,
in terms
yeah.
of locking up people or doing
They
something.
don't. They can't
don't.
prosecute.
Because
but-
how the law is written.
Yeah. And you know, I had a conversation before I completed the submissions which I sent in. I had a conversation with someone who had worked at a senior level in the DPP's office at the time when Mr. Christie himself was pressing for prosecutorial powers. And she said to me, you know, we have had many discussions with them about how they can use administrative action to handle the things which fell below the criminal bar, because some of the things that they are pushing for prosecution as criminal activity don't quite make it to that level.
Who don't make it? Who are you referring to? The Integrity Commission?
The Integrity Commission and the DPP.
Okay.
There are some things. So, for example, Mr.
Christie?
Mr. Hutchinson being affiliated with his son who got a contract, that's not a crime. The affiliation is not a crime. The son getting a contract is not a crime.
No.
It may well be that the
Nepotism
son...
is a crime.
But nepotism is not a criminal offense to be prosecuted by the DPP. You don't think the DPP have enough work?
Some people, I say, some people don't want it to be come because we have too much of it.
Yeah, but you can address nepotism by other ways. And the commission, all you want, you know, is for the commission to start exercising that jurisdiction 2-3 times. People stop, because the ways you would do it would hurt persons in the pocket, and it would not be worth their while.
In terms of reputation.
Yes,
and all that.
think about it. If the consequence of nepotism is that you have to pay back the money plus interest at some rate that is...
You not even think about it.
You wouldn't even think, you would say it's not worth it. Not going to take a $1 million contract, and if I'm caught, I have to pay back $3 million and be barred from soliciting further work.
And then the reputational
And damage, yes. Why would you even do it?
So that thing in terms of administrative
Sanctions.
is something that...
Listen to me, it's more powerful than trying to lock up a man for 6 months and cost you less.
Yeah, because when you really think about it, you know, it makes sense. And I never heard of Jamaicans for Justice, but they are pushing for that too.
Greater independence
Greater
and
independence,
for other original
jurisdiction,
jurisdiction, yes,
yeah.
to do various things. You must have that. If not, what you will have, I was trying to check the year when the Mombasa grass thing went down. That was when, 2017?
Yeah.
So in 2017, something happens. It is the subject of a report. Let's say even a year later. So let's say 2018, it is reported on by the commission. In 2022, the commission is having to point out to the government that they ought to have done something to show that that behavior is unacceptable. Come on. It just goes
It
to
just
show that there's a
underscores the
lot.
point.
The
Underscores the
significance of the
point.
point,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I'm making.
And then the other thing now, Sulin Ward Brown. You know that name? She's the principal of an infant school in the Prime Minister's constituency who has been arrested and charged with the illegal sale of land in Clifton.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. There is a claim. The police say they have received reports that over $4 million for lands near Clifton, St. Catherine, have been paid to Principal Sulin Ward Brown. And yesterday, making social media was a picture of the Prime Minister and Sulin Ward Brown. Someone sent it to me. Obviously, she's in his constituency. From all reports, she's a fantastic woman who has done a marvelous job with her infant school. But she's caught up in this. And you see how this is the nature of it, you know. If the police arrest and charge somebody, even if later on that is dismissed and so on, you know, the reputational damage to this lady is of no moment, you know.
It's for long term.
We heard them being so careful about the Contractor General launching an investigation being the source of reputational damage for politicians, for public servants.
It's just the two, and I think what is coming out to me is the two
the standards, the double standards.
Yeah, which is what the real thing is.
Yeah.
And I hope them listening. That's why people can't trust nothing. Them say, okay, with the Integrity Commission, which has subsumed the Contractor General, they were saying, you know, the holy law, so we can get something now. But in reality, what people are sensing is that their hands are bound. They can send all the reports to Parliament, but guess what happened? Some of them might never see the light of day. Oh, table, we take this, but what is in the report?
But when you've sent it to Parliament, you can't go and speak in the public on it until Parliament has done its work.
You serious?
Yeah. But you can't. Imagine, I send a letter to you, and then I'm out there talking about the letter that I sent to you, and you don't even read the letter yet. Even the appearance of it.
Oh, Jesus. So
would be improper.
Oh,
so, yeah, when you send something to Parliament,
you have to wait until them table it and talk about it?
You have to wait until, because it would be quite improper of you to be sharing your report with the world before Parliament has but if you were able to publish your report as you are sending it, because you are independent, so Parliament is just another member of your audience. Well, they say they are independent, so perhaps what it is for the Integrity Commission to behave as an independent and stop being polite and publish whatever it wants to.
So they publish it to
that
the
is
Parliament.
within the permit of the law, the purview of the law. The point I will not resile from emphasizing is that they can impose codes of conduct on any government agency.
And we know that. So do it.
So do it. Let me see if they will do it, just as how they are chastising Parliament for not having taken appropriate action against offenders. Put your codes of conduct in place. All right.
And the so-so?
There is there's something I wanted your viewpoint on. But, this morning, as Lowell was saying to me, that Brownstown, my sleepy little town of Brownstown, where I went to school, St. Hilda's on the Hill, Orange Hill, Brownstown, gunmen fired upon a crowd of, they went to kill somebody. They killed one and injured 5.
In Brownstown?
In Brownstown.
When that happened, yesterday?
Yeah, because, Lowell, yesterday in the afternoon, brazen. I missed the news, but Lowell said it was there. St. Anne police are yet to establish a motive for the shooting of 6 people, one fatally in Orange Hill, Brownstown on Wednesday afternoon. Ricardo Campbell, 22, young men of Orange Hill, and the injured persons have been hospitalized. Ricardo is dead, and the others have been hospitalized. A group of men were gathered at a location in the community having drinks when a black Toyota Voxy motor vehicle drove up. Two men reportedly exited the vehicle and opened fire on the group. That's it. In Brownstown.
Wow.
So you see, boy, I tell you, I'm not even sure how to view it, because we know that as the Zozos are being set up all over the place, it's squeezing
The criminals.
the criminals out and into other communities that don't normally have a certain type of activity. And whether they go there to hide, because sometimes, someone who's vulnerable in one community go hide in another.
Yeah, and that's what
Word
it works.
reach them that somebody's there and they come. That
they
is
come.
how the football
Ball
field
field.
shoot-up went down.
And
And I
they were
think
schooling
that's,
out. They were
yeah.
schooling out. And them say the place get hot, and that is what, when they say the place get hot, it means that police swarm the place. So the place get hot, and that is why they would have the place get hot. So I move.
They move.
But then when the place get hot, the people who into them thing don't like it. So them tell everybody behave on themselves that the police don't come in our skin every day.
I have some sad news and some not so sad news. The same news qualifies dual sides, one coin. Denham Town has been under zone of special operation for 5 years. 5 years. There are wars that don't last that long, except for the 100-year war. For 5 years, this community has been under basically supervision. They don't even realize that they're prisoners with a big yard. And it appears they're celebrating it.
That they're
But that's
under
what it
supervision.
says. Yeah.
They're pleased with gains over 5 years. Yeah. That's a news item.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it and saying, oh my God, when our people are living pretty much under police rule and supervision,
Them like it.
and that has become a blessing,
That can be good.
what is it that we're saying?
Send another message. It means that
So-
you of yourself cannot.
You move into the prison now
Yeah,
because you find
and
it is safer
to-
than to enjoy
That
the
is
freedom
so- that
that
is-
you deserve as a citizen. I'm penetrating that one and I'm thinking, whoa, what does this even mean? And even as they're there acknowledging it and saying, how much better things are, a man was being murdered
in Denham Town.
in Denham
Down
Town.
on North Street. It is the borders of where it's at.
Chad Coleman was reportedly killed at his home, which is located between 2 security checkpoints. Unless a police kill him, that should never be. Yet, a citizen is saying, if it wasn't for the Zozo, I couldn't be out here standing and talking to you right now. But guess what happened? Chad Coleman was at his home when he was killed. So where would that citizen be that could be safer? Because your home not safe and the streets not safe. Or no, everybody need to be on the streets. Denham Town is a real challenge, I think, for the architects of our public peace and safety to contend with, because they've done everything there. They've spent all the money they can, over 100 million.
450 million.
$450 million in social, dear Jesus. Okay, more than $450 million invested in social projects as the government moves to transform the crime-riddled space. Please understand that. What size is Denham Town? How many acres would Denham Town be?
Very small. It's not a major area,
Just understand that if you spend $450 million in a small space, you should end up with a first-rate modern city. Don't you think?
And it's it's social program. It's not an infrastructure.
But it don't matter. We're not talking infrastructure now, because investing in people will give you a better return than investing in infrastructure.
Yeah, but I'm in agreement with you
Yeah.
now. Yeah, because let me tell you.
Mind you, they have included some improvements to community infrastructure, replacing zinc fences with block and steel fences, creating parks and green spaces, school rehabilitation projects, providing grants towards micro-enterprises within the community. One citizen said, me wouldn't mind if it stay forever. This is the Zozo, This now is the real Stockholm syndrome. where you are under oppression and you think that is better for you. Be glad for them, a 53-year-old resident said. Another one said that she's more than happy with the impact the Zozo has had on the area. Violence is still here, but not to the extreme as how it was before, because it used to be gang war, meaning battle and stone flinging and all of them something there. It's been a while since we've seen stuff like that in the community, she said. Anyhow, the point I want to leave with you, listeners and pastor, is what the minister had to say about it, the MP. Member of Parliament Desmond McKenzie cautioned residents that the security measure, which was given a 60-day extension in Parliament on Wednesday, could not go on forever.
Oh.
And he says, we must ask ourselves the question, when will Denham Town be able to graduate, to go on its own, to manage its own business without the security on a 24-hour basis? We're not there yet, because there are still areas that we need to work on. But this can't be indefinite, and I am urging my constituents to let us be an example, he said. When will Denham Town be able to graduate? In most other situations, when words like graduation are used, there is an acknowledgement that the teacher is as responsible as the student
for what has happened.
For what has happened. And the MP is asking them, when will they be able to graduate?
Not ask them.
Not ask them. They need gowns.
Which gowns am I going to need?
No, the gowns down there seem to be more the one that put you in the coffin.
No, sir.
All right. We know that the Zozo was extended in places like Norwood, Mount Salem in St. James, Greenwich Town, Parade Gardens and Augustown, Savlamar, all set to expire on October 22, got a 60-day extension, at least to take them through Christmas. It seems to be the point. But there is also a report in the paper on the level of reduction in crime by virtue of the Zozos, which so far there is a $1 billion price tag on. This is what we have spent to produce a Denham Town that on the very day they are celebrating 5 years, a man is killed in his home.
So what do we do?
I want to give you the scorecard.
You have a scorecard?
Yeah, man. Minister Chang spoke on it when he was seeking his extension, and he gave some numbers. All right, very quickly. The first thing is, what percentage reduction of crime do you think would have occurred in Denham Town after $450 million is spent? Just pick a figure. Don't look at the scorecard.
60%.
60%?
Yeah.
Denham Town, after that kind of money, is polling at 32% reduction.
Okay. You mean what is reported?
Yeah. 100%. They're reducing it from 100.
No,
Okay. When we come back. Good morning and welcome back. It's now 8:36 and we're in the zone where we have some conversations with our friends from Jamaica Public Service Company Limited. Welcome to the call, Mr. Shamar Harrison.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, Minette. How are you?
I am well. You know, I am sad because I keep hoping that you will come. The ladies have come in their numbers and delighted Pastor Percival. And you, my precious unicorn, has not shown up. Not once.
I intend for that to change soon.
Good morning.
Very
Good morning, Percival. How are you?
I'm very good.
And good morning to the listeners as well.
All right, let me just say who you are. You are the Corporate Communications Assistant with Jamaica Public Service Company.
Yes, I am.
What does that portfolio entail?
Well, in terms of a general description, I assist the department in general to meet the company's communication objectives, and that entails things such as writing copies for advertisements, media releases, organizing video shoots. There is a small administrative component involves advising departments from a communication perspective. It involves assisting projects to fulfill the communication aspects of their projects and undertakings once it is that customers are involved especially. There is an internal communication component as well, just to ensure that things are communicated as seamlessly as possible, both inside the organization and outside of it too. Because we want to ensure that customers, one, know what's happening, two, can get the best experience from the service that we provide, and three, that the projects, the undertakings, the development that are happening both inside of JPS and also with our partnership externally, that these are communicated as effectively as possible, because we want to be as productive as possible. We want customers and the country to benefit as much as possible from our service.
And you've not said it and in quite the way that I appreciate it, so I'm going to say it for you. What it means is that you know your stuff.
I'd like to think so, yes.
Yes. I emphasize that because sometimes, when persons come on and their role is in the communication department, others might listen and think they don't know the technical details. Yeah, you might not be an engineer, but you have to research and be informed on what is happening with a certain degree of accuracy in your company, so your communication is both credible and effective.
Yes, that's important.
Yes, and so I welcome you to the program because this morning we're going to give a little wisdom to our listeners on the business of the cost of electricity, how we can exercise our own control over managing our consumption. So, yeah. Well, where are you going to start with us?
All right, so before I get into specific appliances or devices,
yes,
I just want to say that a number of factors contribute to the cost of electricity, both in terms of your individual bills and in terms of what JPS will pay. And two of those main ones would be the cost of fuel, so the cost to purchase oil and gas, and which makes up a little over 50% of your bill. And then also the foreign exchange rate, because we buy the necessary resources, the fuel and gas I mentioned before, and a number of other resources, we buy that in US dollars. So those two are the two main components of the bill. Which
all right, so cost of fuel is 50%.
A little over 50.
Right. Foreign exchange is what percentage?
That varies because it depends on the exchange rate and so that will vary from time to time.
So that's about what? In the range of 10%?
I hesitate to give us. I hesitate to give us.
Taxation is what percent?
1 moment.
I'm doing this exercise because I want us to isolate the variable percentage that customers can have some control over. So we know 50% already goes to fuel.
Right.
So
in terms of that specific percentage breakdown, I I'm not in a position to give the exact value
Okay, but
because
just if you can give me a
but what I
range.
want to what I want to talk about the consumption, which if you think about the other percentages comparable, it can be about 20. I think is a relatively safe
Okay, so
ballpark.
the variable piece of it is about 20%. That's where I was going anyway,
Yes,
because we
approximately
all know
20.
that taxation is high, but you're saying each person can have some control over at least 20% of their bill.
Yes, approximately 20%.
All right, so let's go now.
Right. So because you have control over that component, that's the part that we're going to talk about. And therefore, appliances or devices that you would not necessarily say would be typical of the average household, but they are things that people have in their homes. And just in terms of talking about them, it's not to say don't use them, but just so we have an idea of the cost it may be contributing to your bill, and also some tips in terms of helping us to manage them. And the appliances are devices as well as the water pump, the pool pump. We're talking about the non-inverter pool pump, a sound system, and the electric stove.
So
So
water
the water
pump,
pump, pool
pool
pump,
pump.
sound system, and the electric stove.
Major
Now,
consumers. Those are the major
sorry, I didn't hear
those
that.
are the major consumers of the electricity. If you have
No, not exactly. They're just four appliances or devices that, of the four, three of them, I'd say the pool pump, the sound system, and the electric stove, can be major consumers. There are others that can be more or a little less, but these four, well, three of them would fall in the category of major consumers, depending on how you use them, etc.
Wow, so you mean the AC don't make the list?
The AC can be a main contributor depending on the other appliances that you have, depending on if it's an inverter or non-inverter. And something important to say, having an inverter AC may not be beneficial if you only use it
For short periods of time.
5 to 30 minutes at night, for example. You won't necessarily reap the benefits there.
So we need to be using it for about what, 2 hours?
2, 3 hours.
The longer
minimum.
you use it, really. I know the longer you use it.
But it's not to say that we'd want you to have it on for the majority of the night either. So it's important to have a discussion. It's important to have a discussion with the supplier where you're purchasing your AC unit, just to ensure that based on your lifestyle, how long you're using it, which would be the most cost effective. But before giving the figures or the kilowatt hour usage for these, I want to just point out that the value, the dollar value, and the kilowatt hour value that I'm giving would be for average devices or appliances of this nature. So it will vary based on brand, based on the age, and also the cost that I'm talking about is taking 1 kilowatt hour being $70.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So
All right, so first I'll start with the water pump. If you use the average water pump for about half an hour for a week or for a month, so that's half an hour per week for a month, that's approximately 16.9 kilowatt hours.
So let me be sure now. This is a water pump that persons would be using, like if they have a tank.
Yes, the water pump connected to your tank, whether it is at the pressure for the water to get into the tank is not very high.
Or if
so
you have
the
a
pump will
fish
help you
pond.
there.
Or if you have a fish
Yes.
pond.
Yes, that as well, but it depends on how large the pond is.
Okay. So
the
size
specific
matters.
Pump that you'd have, right. So this is just an average water pump, and an average based on what is typically used in Jamaica.
Okay.
So if you're using it for half an hour weekly for a month, that's about 16.9 kilowatt hours, and this would contribute approximately $1,118.07 to the bill.
$1,000.
$118.07 to your bill. So that's if it's half an hour for the week for a month.
Okay.
So when you think of this against, when you compare this rather against the other appliances or devices that you may have, it may not be a whole lot depending on what else you have, or it may be a lot if the other appliances are relatively efficient and, for example, you don't use that much regularly apart from say the refrigerator.
But someone who's using a water pump, like let's say you know you live in the country and you have a tank, and you have to move the water from wherever you're moving it throughout the house to get water to your kitchen and your bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's not like something that you could regulate. I'm just thinking about what all this means for for consumers, for citizens, because if that's how you move water through your house, you don't have a lot of discretion.
You have to just use it all the time.
You'd have to, yeah.
Not exactly. It depends because if it is that you would need a pump for things such as using the bathroom in terms
Yes.
of flushing, washing your hands, in terms of washing utensils in the kitchen.
Yes.
You can have a switch, a manual switch at these locations or a specific location that's convenient in the home, and you turn it on right before you're about to do particular things, and it's not much of an inconvenience once it is the system allows for the water to flow immediately. So that's one option to prevent it from being a continuous flow.
Okay, so I thank you for those suggestions because I want this to make sense, persons listening, because we don't want, especially, you know, for the women, I have a concern. You don't want mothers and housekeepers to be constantly running these maneuvers in order to save on 1,000.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right, I understand.
Right. Well, the standard of living and the well-being and just how you live, it becomes important. You have these things in your home which you practically can't use, and you're looking at a saving. Once you're trying to affect 20% of your bill, right away that effort is almost de minimis to me. I mean,
Almost what?
it is almost irrelevant to try and affect 20% of your bill, the level of effort that you're going to put in it, considering your day's work and activity. I can tell you, if I had to, as a woman running a house, if I had to go around switching off and switching on so that I can reduce a spend of maybe $2,000 for the month, just the blood pressure that it can give me.
But
Anyway.
there is some amount of management involved, and the percentage may seem small in terms of what you can affect, but then there are things such as government policy, which we do engage in dialogue. There are initiatives that we're trying, new technology, to try and impact other aspects of it that are, we don't typically have direct control over, negotiations, etc. But in terms of what the customers would do, for example, if you're connected to the main during the day, once the pressure is relatively high, some persons may not need to use a pump. But
Right.
we did mention in the country areas.
It's the country
And
area me think about
depending on
because
the-
my mother have to use a pump.
Right, so depending on the connection, which is an important discussion to have with your plumber,
Yeah.
it may be a situation that you only need it for specific activities, maybe showering only as opposed to washing plates, etc.
Yeah.
So the other thing would be the pool pump, and this is one that's a non-inverter. So, and something that's important that I want to say, we want persons to be as comfortable as they can be, but that comfort comes with bearing in mind that there is a cost based on the type of lifestyle and practices that you may have.
Yes.
And some of that cost is not dependent per se on how well you manage something. It is just assigned
That's
to
the cost
a
it is.
particular
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yes.
And a pool pump is relatively expensive.
Yes.
So the average pool pump, if you use it for 5 hours for the day, and this is over a month, it's approximately 225.9 kilowatt hours. And that amounts to $14,907.55. So if
And
it is
this
that
is
you-
the non-inverter one.
Yes, it's a non-inverter.
So you're
one.
going to give me for the inverter one as well? Or
The
just the...
inverter one varies a bit more depending on brand and size. So it may not be a situation that I'm able to give as good
no worries.
an average of
So
that.
you are looking at the inefficient appliances that people would need to
Get
at
rid
least
of.
look at and get the best thing possible. So you
And
can...
then the level of efficiency also depends on things such as duration, which we spoke of for the AC unit. So for some persons, a non-inverter is actually best based on the length of time they use it, where it's positioned and the size. Right.
Understood.
So if you're thinking of getting a pool pump, or if you have a pool, you have to think of things such as how long do I need to have it on for? How long do I need to have it on for? Is the setup done for this to be as efficient as is possible? Because you can have things like this that may not be necessities, they're comfort, but you can have the setup in such a way that you benefit as much as possible. So the discussions from the moment you're building or repairing, those discussions are extremely important.
Gotcha.
The next thing would be the sound system. And we're talking about the typical roadside one. So not a very large one, but a standard one. And I want to add, every time you add something to a sound system, it increases the pull or the amount it consumes. So each amplifier that you add, that will have the multiple speaker boxes, can add to how much it pulls. So even before I talk about the amount, I want to say, think about where you're playing this sound system. Is it important for you to have as large a system playing or something smaller? Is it that you're having a party where it's necessary, or just at your home? Because sometimes we'll just be at home with one or two friends and we have a big sound system when a smaller system or radio could do a pretty good job. So
a radio at a party? All right,
it depends on the type of radio. and I'm talking about just a few friends over, not necessarily a party. Right, so if you're using the sound system for 6 hours per day for a month, that's approximately 219.6 kilowatt hours. And that contributes approximately $14,494.23. So it is within the same range as the pool pump. Yes, within the same range as the pool pump.
Now to the stove.
Yes. So the electric stove, the average one for about 3 hours daily for a month, is about 162 kilowatt hours, and that's about $11,340. And again, this will depend on the number of burners. The standard approximately 4-burner stove, and as I said, used for about 3 hours each day. And you may consider if it is that an electric stove is best or a gas stove is best based on the frequency you cook, and also how others in the household would use it. So that's an important thing to consider. Also make sure that the pots that you're using, that they fit the burner correctly. So the right size pot or the right size burner. So a smaller pot and a larger burner, you'd end up wasting, so to speak, because the smaller pot would heat up much quicker. They would need a smaller burner that matches it, which would consume less over that period. The converse for the larger pot.
Right. Does it matter for if it's an induction cooktop?
When you say induction, what do you mean?
Oh, the one that does not give off radiant heat. It just does a transfer of energy to the contents inside the pot.
Yes, it does matter because wasted and energy is not created or destroyed. It's converted into other forms. So when you don't have that system, it's just converted into heat that then heats up the room, and depending on the setup, you may then need to turn on the AC or the fan. So it does matter, but also how efficiently it does that channeling to the pot as opposed to the external environment is also important. So the brand is something that you want to take into account. And an important tip as well, your stove and your refrigerator are ideally not to be beside each other. Because when your stove is giving off heat, it then affects the refrigerator, and it makes it necessary to work a bit harder to keep the content cool because the external environment is now warmer.
Yeah, the induction is somewhat like nuclear energy. It does not give off. It doesn't give off heat. The molecules clash against each other in the pot, but you can actually touch the stove, and the stove is cold.
Right. Some of those brands that incorporate that technology are very efficient, while others you may end up consuming so much more to reduce the external heat. So
Yeah.
as I said, it depends. Just have the discussion to see what the difference is with a system that doesn't employ that.
Because I do see them in a lot of new apartments and townhomes.
Yes,
No, no
they are,
flames, no, yeah.
yeah, increased. They are being increased. The present, we're seeing those more in the newer homes, and persons tend to be purchasing those more because
Yeah.
they are more available, and some are very efficient.
Yes. It would be good, useful on another occasion, or if anyone is interested, to understand how much more efficient those can be. Because, like, even when I did a tour of the new student accommodations on campus,
Yeah.
what is it? Something Living 138,
138 living.
right? And all of they are used. It's all induction stovetops
Yeah.
in throughout the yes. So I mean, when people are doing large scale developments like that, even from a conservation perspective, not so much now because we're poor and can't afford the electricity bill, but because we're an overall move to conserve, it would be important to have some position regarding the appliances that are used in those kind of massive and students will cook anytime all day. They have the efficiency units have like a common area for cooking, and so
Right.
everybody uses it and will go there at different times. Anyway, it's just a point I'm making because I know you're on this
and
move.
and it and it's an important discussion for developers to have with their team. So from the onset, consideration should be
You have 1 minute remaining on this call.
that will be there and how they be used. It's an important part of building in general, and I'd hope that the majority of developers now are having those discussions from the get-go to ensure that not only they are benefiting in terms of their construction, but
Yes.
the person living there can also benefit as well.
Long term.
All right, Shamar, we're gonna have to take a short break, and then we will call you back if so we can wrap up.
Okay,
All
sure.
right. Yes, I just got a warning. Thank you very much. All right. Welcome back, and thank you, Shamar, for staying with us as we
You're
move
welcome.
into the final segment. I know you wanted to speak to us about the kinds of bulbs that we should be investing in at this time, so we could go into that, and then we can do our wrap up.
Okay, sure. For a number of persons, lighting may not be a large portion of their bill, or a large portion of what contributes to their consumption, but it all depends on the number of bulbs you have. And for example, if you have security lights, that may be something that you want to take into account. But I'm going to talk about just 4 bulbs of 3 different types, and just compare the cost for persons to have a good idea. We have been saying for a while now that we ideally would prefer for persons to change out all incandescent bulbs, preferably to LEDs, but if not even to LEDs, at least to fluorescent bulbs. And here's why. For LED bulbs being used for 5 hours per day over the month amounts to about $210, which is about 5 kilowatt hours. That's 4 LED bulbs of 5 hours per day for the month, about $210. For fluorescent bulbs for the same period, 5 hours per day over a month, is about $630.
Oh, it's triple.
Kilowatt hours. So that's close to $400 in terms of that difference there.
$100
And
more.
Right, and then when you move to the incandescent bulbs, so 4 incandescent bulbs for 5 hours per day over a month, it's about $1,134 or 27 kilowatt hours. So especially if you have a large number of bulbs, it does add up. So you want to be as efficient as possible with all your devices, all your appliances, and the lighting is no exception.
That's a major thing. 1,000 versus 200.
Yes,
That's
it is a
800.
major difference.
Yeah.
And we are pleased that the government is moving in the direction of banning incandescent bulbs. It has been done in a number of other jurisdictions because they're just not as efficient as we can be. And persons can get more information on the approximate cost of appliances and about how much they use in terms of kilowatt hours from the JPS website at jpsco.com. So that would provide details on what I spoke of today, and then some of the other appliances that we typically use on a day-to-day basis. And one person to remember as well that the MyJPS mobile app allows for you to check your consumption monthly, weekly, daily, and hourly. And this is for persons with a smart meter. So you can, in almost real time, get an idea of what your consumption pattern is like, and you can also, from that, have an idea as well of what practices may be contributing a little more or less to the consumption and also your bill, which can help you to save a bit.
Let me ask you a quick question before you go.
Yeah.
What if you know an address, like where a house is situated, and you know the owners? Can you put in that information and get your electricity bill, or you have to know what the account number is?
So you're asking if someone at JPS can put in that information and generate the bill based on the consumption?
Yes.
At JPS?
Give me more details than
All right.
Yeah.
So here am I. I have the address. I know the person who owns the property. I might not remember what my account number is. If I have the basic who owns the property, what the address is, can you yeah.
So you mean somebody calling or reaching out to JPS to get information on an account?
Yes. They don't know what the account is, they just know what the address is.
There are particular questions that we typically ask to maintain some level of security.
Okay.
Ideally, we want you to know the account number.
Okay.
Maybe the telephone number on the account.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the name the account was in beforehand. But just having the address will likely not allow you to get much information at all, because we do have to protect our customers.
Okay.
Also, there could be multiple residents at the same address.
That is true.
And you
The
wouldn't
same address
know.
may have multiple.
Yeah, you wouldn't know
number,
which
things
is
like that,
the
very
person. Mm.
Okay.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I just want to encourage persons, when you reach out to us, try to have as much information as is possible, and also ensure that we have updated information for you. So your current telephone number, email address, that will help us in terms of communicating with you, and it will also help you to access some of our services, such as our self-help features on our telephone line.
So can we agree then that if a customer loses their number and can't get their account, this service is free? Asking for a
No, we
friend.
can't agree that because there are other ways of reaching out. There are other ways of reaching out.
I'm
to
just
the
asking
mobile
for a
app,
friend
website.
who has lost his account number.
You can reach out to us and provide other details, and we'll be able to assist with that.
Okay.
You can tell your friends that we can assist with that.
All right, Pastor, we'll tell our friend.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Shamar. I
You're
gotta
welcome.
ask you this before you go. I know you mentioned that there are some policy matters and government regulatory standard type things that you're lobbying government on to limit the areas in which customers have to go and do research and exercise best care to have the most efficient things. And I hear you say in relation to the bulbs, the inefficient bulbs, that there is the possibility, or it's already decided, that government
They have
will,
announced. The government has announced
that they will ban.
the ban.
Well, hopefully it's better than the plastic bag ban. But is there anything else that we could add our voice to as we lobby? If you were to say to us, such and such is highly inefficient and it shouldn't even be available in the country. Anything that we could
All right,
get
so
our listeners to stand behind?
This may be surprising to some persons and frustrating to others, depending on where you fall.
Yes.
Reappliances,
Uh-huh.
but Jamaica runs on a 50 hertz
Yes.
cycle, and other countries tend to run on a 60. So those tend to be the two main ones globally. A number of the appliances that are sold in Jamaica are 60 hertz appliances.
We need to ban them.
They should
For
ban
the
them.
most part, you'll not notice much of a difference in terms of how they operate. They may seem to last for the same period of time, but there is the question of how efficient.
How efficient they are. Shamar, you have touched
that they are not ideally
And it
matched
affecting
for.
the electricity bill
that
too.
is a pet peeve of mine, so thank you. That's a good one. What happens is they don't last nearly as long.
Oh, you find that?
I have found that you're burning through toaster ovens. They
Right.
caught me with a washing machine. It caught me with a little toaster, the tiny toasters. They're just, they're like, some of them are good for a month.
Right. You want the systems to line up as seamlessly as possible. So it's as if
That
you're
one. All right, sir.
you're putting two ropes together that are different sizes.
Right. Start a petition. We're behind you.
For government to ban. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
they really shouldn't have those things, because most persons going out to shop, we
They
are
will check that.
we're looking at the color and does it fit the decor of the kitchen, and if it's in a shop in
Right.
Jamaica, then it must be good for Jamaica.
Must be a
We
50
make all
cycle.
kinds of
Must be a 50
it,
cycle.
of course. How could you be bringing some here that's not?
60 cycle.
Admittedly, it's complex in terms of all parties that would be involved, but it is a discussion that we've been trying to have, and it's something that's important to consider how we go about
Doing it. Yes,
doing that moving forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been a delight. Next time, I hope to see you
You're
in
welcome.
person. It's just
I
a
hope
hope.
so too.
It's just a hope. But thank you very much. We appreciate the support that your company gives to the program and to the education of our listeners. So have
You're
a
welcome,
blessed
and
weekend.
have a wonderful day to you both and to your listeners.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Well.
that was interesting. We were talking about hacking. So you hacking. If you have that, can you just go in and hack their system? Just put some false information, and then we give you the information. You understand?
Pastor, mind they take us off air or ban us and say words like hack should never be used on air.
Oh, you mean
like chopper and those other things. Have we released Shamar from the call? Oh, I'm still hearing something.
No, but that was so interesting. Oh boy.
Which one? The question I asked for my friend?
Yeah, in terms of his response, you have to have some more information. Because with this new app, what I'm picking up, you have the app and you just put in an account number, you get everything,
Yes,
you get the
yes,
service
yes.
and that kind of thing.
Right.
If you don't know your account number,
Can we go back to these?
your goose cooked.
Yeah, but I mean, you must appreciate that. We like going into the bank and saying, "I've come for my money."
I
Who
come
are
for my
you?
money.
I have.
They come for my money. My name is so and so, but them would have my name on the account in terms of it, so me not understand.
No proof of identity, because you can forget your bank account number and leave the passbook or something. But you go in and you satisfy them as to your identity, and you have a shot.
The shot are doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. This thing we make, we're joking around the whole thing with the data theft and thing. It's going to become a major issue in terms of life going forward. And it's not a big thing here in terms of identity theft, but in some countries, you have security against identity theft because a man go in and take out a car and take out a loan in the name and saying, what is happening here? And see all of these things coming.
Well, online, Earl Brown is saying that he knew about the 60-50 cycle issue in Jamaica from in the 1960s. Why Jamaica don't change to 60? Oh, I can give him that. I can give him that answer because we had asked JPS and they said not an easy or a cheap change. And quite honestly, if when JPS makes the change, we, the consumers,
You have
gonna
to pay
get
for
stuck
it.
with the cost. We're not
Yeah.
excited about it either. However, for those who are advocating for competition, a new entrant would just build a 60 cycle plant
Okay.
driven by nuclear energy.
Challenges the transmission network.
Yeah, yeah.
You build it, but
But they'd
JPS
have to
will own
build
the
their
transmission.
own. Yeah, but they probably would have to build a new. What would competition in the supply of electricity look like in Jamaica? I mean, we already have competition on the generating side, but what would it look like if persons could?
You'd have to build out their own transmission system, no sir? Because you couldn't
But the
piggyback on
transmissions-
JPS goes on.
No, they could, just like how in telecoms you have to interconnect, and people share the cost.
I
Of
think
the
that's a different
infrastructure.
concept, isn't it?
No, it's
No,
the same
I
concept.
think it would be a lease line situation where JPS already owns a
You'd lease
network
from
of
them.
Yeah, so you'd have to
Yes, yeah.
lease from them because
Yeah.
other than that you'd have to build your
That's what
own
I say.
transmission
JPS
system
could
network.
stymie the process and say, whoa.
Listen, man, we went through that with telecoms.
Oh, it
There are ways to do it, yeah. There are ways to do it. But if you were moving now to an underground transmission system,
Oh, that's a nightmare. We're talking about digging up all over the place.
Remember that happened when the telecommunications
Yeah.
have gone underground? Everywhere
Yeah.
you
Yeah, but
falling at them
not with
potholes and things.
electricity. I don't see that
You're
working.
falling at, hello, the man them
but
dig
you
out the
wouldn't,
place.
it wouldn't be, it would only be, so you would take a lease line up to the curb of the housing development. We're moving into more planned development, you know. Some of those standalone houses that you see are going to disappear. Land is in short supply. It's going to be like Hong Kong.
Well,
When
I
you
mean,
stand on the street and look up, you're dizzy. The buildings are
the
towering
thing, you know,
over
is the
you.
cost to build out the
Infrastructure.
transmission,
The transmission,
system.
yeah.
Because you can build the system out and then cut over to it.
Yeah.
So a JPS would do it, but they are saying to you it's going to cost you money to do that. You know, it is an expensive
They could
venture.
sell you pieces of their, see like how Hope Gardens, not Hope Gardens, that community in Kingston that took them to court for not replacing their
Pastures.
Hope Pastures.
Mm.
They could sell somebody Hope Pastures business, you know.
Their business?
The
don't-
customers in Hope Pastures
Yeah.
who want a replacement of the underground system, that body of business, I'm just saying it technically, I don't know if it would make sense commercially, but if I have a bunch of customers in an area and I have infrastructure there, I can sell you that piece of business, put a price on it, you take it over, rehabilitate it, and do with it
But
what you
remember
will.
the problem that Hope Pastors has, it's one of obsolescence.
Yes,
I mean,
so,
their
so
system
the
has
new
been in
person
there
who
for
buys
quite
it
a while.
for $1,
And,
the new person who buy it for $1 would put in the new system.
You mean for Hope Pastors people
Right.
and let them continue to
And
be
they would be paid their,
underground?
they would pay their toll now or whatever.
I think that time has passed. JPS is all over the air.
All over the ear.
Up in
They
there,
gave them
so-
aerial, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they
time has
abandoned
passed.
they abandoned the sunken thing and gave
Long
them.
time.
and they were upset with it because it said the aerial wires changed the appearance, the aesthetics of the community, and devalue their property.
Oh, people.
There was such a case.
Oh,
You knew
well,
of it, right?
yeah,
Or
man. I think
yeah.
you mentioned it.
yeah, it's a kind of an odd argument that it devalued the property because valuation of property is contextual and environmental. And if everybody else have aerial wires
Why don't you have area
and
wires?
you don't have it, you're being compared against those who have, and the people who are buying your house not gonna mark you down because you have aerial wires. They're coming from an environment with aerial wires.
You're not a
So it
major
was
thing
a
to them.
value. It was a value in the minds of the
Yeah.
homeowners.
Perception.
I mean, when you build out, for
Yeah,
example,
it
a
was not value that
development
they could convert into money.
in a particular development, then fine, because it's on a small scale. But when you're thinking on a national scale,
Yeah.
now, that is a totally different animal you're dealing with.
I think it would be
in
one
terms of the
development at a
transmission
time.
network.
But are we? Is that like modern thinking that safety in a hurricane zone requires more underground over aerial installations? Are we still at that place? I remember it used to be a big argument some time ago.
Well, I'm sure it still is, because you talk about, especially for flood-prone areas
Yeah,
and so on,
but
for
for
you to get to
flood-prone
the
areas,
thing
the
to
water,
deal with it.
the water would be
Yeah.
underground.
No, well, but get into it. If an
Get to
area
it,
is
yeah.
flooded out, how do you get
You
under
wouldn't
there
get
to
to
do
it,
anything?
right? So it is.
You know, so I'm sure there are pros and cons
So
for
the
both.
environmental considerations
Yeah,
cut
and-
both ways.
and I don't think technology is not there where you can now have wireless electricity. Well, the
what
truth
is that?
is,
Excuse me.
well, I'm sorry, you know,
No, when he said that, I thought about, okay.
but
And he
the,
said they're gone into the
but
ear, so I thought
no.
we were doing wireless electricity.
yeah, but the truth is, you know, solar is wireless. In it,
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
think
well,
of
we
it.
do, but it, no,
It's just
the
where you
thing is,
capture it and
you capture
convert
it
it.
and
Exactly,
carry it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we are there.
I
you know,
mean, the job,
as
we know the
speaking.
technology then.
Yeah? What
The
was that?
technology of transmission. Oh, when you have the power, do you transmit it to the
It's already
individual?
transmitted. You just have to capture it at each point that you want to use it.
Really, no.
Yes, it's like my induction cooktop. That was asking for a friend. I have an induction cooktop, you know. I mean, there are some people who say they will not make a cup of tea using
Straight from the devil.
water boiled in the kettle and the induction. I say, no, man. Water. By the time you take out your cup, you put the kettle on, you take out your cup, you go for the tea bag. When you come back, the water is boiled.
That's the induction.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one that I
Yes.
have is super efficient. The water is boiled, and I see people look at it and say, that no boil. I'm like, but didn't you see it made bubbles and popped up in the pot, and it looked like it boiled, and it's boiling. So no, it cannot be that quick.
Yeah, well,
And then I understand the mystery of technology and how
and
some
then,
things
then you
appear
understand
magical.
why people are concerned about the cell towers and all the
Yes,
various things
yeah.
around, because they say eventually you will just
That's
fry
gonna happen
yourself.
to me.
No, but in
'Cause I
terms
have
of the
water
cell
in-
towers and what? Cell towers.
Radiation, how it affects
Yeah, the radiation.
irradiation of the human body
No,
because
because
they're
we're
emitting
Waves,
signals.
electromagnetic
microwaves.
beings already, you know.
Microwaves.
Yeah, but the
Microwaves,
truth
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
but there's actual scientific research that's point to studies done in Australia over in terms
He's
of
not
cell
decrying
towers.
it, you know. He's
No,
saying
that's
that's why
people are against
Yeah,
it.
they are
And them
rightly
are too,
concerned
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
so you go
Yeah.
fry, so you can stand
Yeah,
up and
if
because
you
of the whole heap
stay-
of cell powers, you begin to fry.
Just like
saying,
how the water boil up quick in the pot. Something is overheating in your body
yeah, because you're electromagnetic.
because we are.
So that's why it's important to make sure you test and know what is safe for humans. You know,
But dear Lord, is which human you're going to test it on? Although we're all the test subjects.
I've been
no,
testing
well,
this
you
right
know
now
what the
as we
numbers
speak.
are in terms of what is safe. So therefore, whenever you design a system, you make sure that it is within the range. You know, so that you don't fry people.
When 5G technology was just being deployed and the pandemic was not just being deployed, but there was an overlap between an emergence of a lot of 5G installations
Yes.
and the pandemic.
Yes.
And animals were falling dead in various places, and they say a tower is there, and they start to say coronavirus was an effect of. Do you remember
5G.
those
Yes,
days?
man. Oh, yes.
Can we bring up one of those old conspiracy theories and see
I'm not going there.
what still stands?
You're not going to start off.
But the reality of it
But
is
you're a
that
scientist, aren't you?
Yes, I'm a scientist. And but you know,
it's
but you
not
but
that conspiracy,
hello.
conspiracy
Yeah,
theories.
but you see, because the science is, as we're talking about theory and hypothesis, you believe, you test it, you see it, and they say, that is the theory, because every theory that has come forth has been tested over time. Somebody come, it's a go so, and then
Yeah, but the
put in
test
the
start at
experiment.
some point.
Yeah, that
There must be a starting point.
there's a starting point and there's an end point, but who wants to be the end point? Who wants to be the end point of that? And that is what
Well,
some people,
I would want to be the starting point.
I don't want to be in it
Because
at all.
then
You don't want me
Not
to-
consciously. I know I'm in it. I know that I'm in it because that's the nature of things. They're testing all kinds of things around you. You don't even know.
that they are being tested.
That
Yeah.
yes.
Like with the
I mean,
this mRNA
mRNA.
Yeah,
technology.
I think this whole
As now they move to
coronavirus
say-
thing has been a
An
a
eye-opener.
worldwide test.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
No, but they're saying now, because what they're saying, you could have what you call technology or treatments that are tailored only to you based on the
Your-
mRNA
your
tech, like cancer
your
and so on. Yeah,
ethnicity.
designer. No, designer technology. So we check it out and say, well, that can work. And we go in the lab and we do a thing, and then we give you the mRNA
This one is for
technology per
Percy.
se. And there's one for Lowell and thing. That's where
Yes.
it's going.
And that's
Yeah,
to
well.
me, that is a laudable thing, you know, because a lot of people fail to get the best treatment because there's a broad brush, like the wide spectrum antibiotic. That is something that when I came to understand it, I'm like, keep that away
Well,
from me.
and you see, the thing is,
What they call it, broad spectrum antibiotic. It kill everything.
The question is,
Just
who
kill
want, to,
everything.
who want to be the margin of error?
That is the
You know,
that is
that's
the
the
thing.
question.
And true, me know me unique in many respects. I know that I'm gonna be the
The
one
margin
that
of error.
I'm gonna react differently. To
Oh
it.
jeez.
I'm yeah. Anyway, we have reduced the cerebral quality of the conversation.
I don't
did
think
we?
so. No, the
brought
mRNA
it up?
technology is not going away in
No,
terms
it
of
isn't.
its use.
It is the future.
Right. We spoke about a couple of programs about the futuristic, the prophets.
Yes.
Which said this is a possibility. Because remember, just take this as we go. The Jetsons. Remember the Jetsons? Remember
No.
the Jetsons as a cartoon
No.
where the
That was
Jetsons.
before our time, Percy. All right, we're kidding. Go ahead. Speak about the Jets.
Where some of the
Yeah,
technology
yeah.
we are seeing now, and you saw it in the Jetsons. I said that wouldn't be possible. You're seeing it right before your eyes.
becoming commercial.
Becoming
Commercially
commercialized.
available.
And somebody was saying, oh well, a lot of these guys in NASA and those things, they have tested these things. They're just now beginning to roll it out that we can see. You are in one place, and we see it with the cell phone technology. You're talking to somebody, you see their picture come up, and we say, when we're going up, that's possible. No, commonplace. Facebook time and FaceTime and WhatsApp and all of that thing. Once upon a time, we grown up would say that would not become possible, but it's here now. So it's very, very possible. Think about it, and now we're beginning to see the realities of it. Remember Knight Rider?
Oh yes, the car kit.
Yes.
The talking car.
Car, and they said, and now we have it. This car is back, We used to watch it as children. Age yourself in the 70s and 80s. No problem. Say, really? Can't talk? Come on, place now.
Yep. Now my watchdogs.
You watch that?
Of course,
Yeah.
it says exercise ring closed. I need to shut it up because sometimes it speaks out of turn.
I'm just
Make it
waiting
feel
for the
shame.
Jamaican version of all of these.
Of all these, we have to do it. We have to do it. Thank you, Conrad, for pointing out to us that man is now able to extend life by growing human organs. Can I tell you this? Real story. I bought some chicken packaged from a local wholesale, and it was packaged under the brand of a local chicken farm, whatever.
Yes.
I noticed that like one or two of the legs were misshapen. I thought maybe because they were packed and frozen, they got some rough treatment and got broken. But anyway, I was gonna do curried chicken, and my niece said, well, let's cut them. So I said the best place to cut it is where it appears to be broken. Can I tell you, when I cut it, it had a joint.
It wasn't broken.
It wasn't broken. It's like it had a knee in the middle of the leg.
Wow.
Okay.
So I'm looking at it, and the only conclusion I came to is that these are
Important.
grown in a lab.
I mean the chicken leg.
Yeah, honestly, why would a chicken leg have like,
A
and
joint
then
in it?
a joint in the middle of it?
It,
I think
it
somebody
could be a
got
deformed
got the
chicken.
molecules
Could be a deformed
mixed
chicken.
up.
I mean,
Anyway, I said, are we growing meat in the lab? Is it on the table?
I
in
think this is
Jamaica?
a good time to take a break. Folks, I'd say just cleanse your palate from all this this talk of deformed chicken and chicken being grown in a lab.
I think it was
No,
grown
but
in a
chicken
lab.
is grown in some places.
Of course.
And it
Yeah,
happened in
it
the
was
stage.
very
You just
tender
took
and delicious. but
pushing the
I was
pushing
very
the
suspicious of
pushing
that
the
extra
organs and then
joint.
you put in the nutrients.
Of
So there's
course.
no headless chicken.
We're
Yes.
up on the break.
All right, let's take our break.
Correct, them
We're
have
on
in
break,
a
so I can call the name of the chicken. welcome back and thank you for staying with us throughout this morning's process. Earl Brown wants to know if you used to read Dick Tracy comic strips.
Yes.
That was the detective?
Yes,
Dick Tracy was
Dick
the
Tracy,
detective?
yeah, man.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about the Jetsons and Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you?
Well, Scooby is eternal. I think
Yes,
he might still be around.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
I've not gone into any of those in a long while. Not since Daniel stopped watching cartoons and whatnot.
Yeah,
I
but
have not paid any
and
attention. But
it's
Scooby even got movies.
yeah, it got movies too, but then what has come out,
I think there's a dance too in Jamaica.
right? The Scooby-Doo, and then one of the other things that has happened recently is that remember with Scooby-Doo there were these high school who would work on these mysteries. So there was Scooby-Doo, the dog, and what is the name of this?
Nancy Drew? Are we talking about Nancy Drew?
Scrappy. But one of the ladies now has come out in the new cartoon as being,
As being gay?
yes.
Why you have to spoil a good thing?
It's just a trend. Not a,
You mean all these many years
yeah,
ago?
she's there, the one as Emily wears glasses and the pretty one.
Yes.
She's now come out as being gay. Oh boy.
These are not real people in a way.
I don't know, but she, you always wonder, Yeah, so it is. But as we've progressed this morning. I was praising the Lord, and I was on a high this
You were
morning.
high.
I still
high?
continue to be on a high.
We need to give you something to take you down.
No.
All right.
I need
loving-
it to sustain.
High and loving it.
Yeah, because it's a good high. It's a good high to be on. My praise is
Well,
my fragrance and thing. Yeah.
yeah. I told you
That trust has resigned. Oh, we should have
Yeah.
broken that news. This trust step
Remember, we
down.
talked about that already. I want to talk about Peter Tosh.
Okay.
It was his birthday yesterday. Didn't hear any noise about it in the places that usually make noise. I felt kind of sad about it because
Why?
I think we spend a lot of time paying homage to many others, some not as deserving as, or should I put it this way, all not equally deserving. And I
Right.
think during this time when we are celebrating culture, having just come from honoring other Jamaicans of excellence, Peter Tosh is still a relevant name.
Relevant music.
And the music more than anything else. But because on Sunday I was guest at the recording by the Wailers Trio, and I saw the energy between these three guys, and I hope maybe we can talk to them in some time to come, near future. I thought this morning I would just make mention of Winston Hubert McIntosh, OM, who was born on the 19th of October 1944. He's October born, and the producer
October
said good
19th.
man, so you know why I'm mentioning it, because the producer is October born too.
And I'm a good man.
And him a good man. He died on the 11th of September 1987. He was murdered in 1987 during a home invasion. Home invasions are nothing new to Jamaica. And the fact that he died in this way is also something of, I think, significance, because Jamaicans continue to live under the terror of the gun. And his music, which was great protest music, commenting on the injustices of the day, things that are still relevant today.
That was from 1987,
Yeah.
When he died.
When he died.
How long that now? That's 35 years.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. And here we are, 3.5 decades later. Same issues. We need to remember the man who, one would say then, he was prophetic in his lyrical content.
And protest music.
Yes. And I feel that certainly with the emergence of this tribute group, I believe that the music is going to find very welcome ears in this season, when we are still pushing and struggling to gain a foothold in some of those places from which we have been excluded. And we've been excluded in large measure because we just have not done the necessary work, some of us, to gain entrance. No one is going to just hand it to you because you're cute and you deserve it.
Oh, so that you're not gonna get it then.
No, no, no. Cute as I am, not a soul give me anything. I have
You
to
know,
fight
I
for it.
just checking
And
and checking
sometimes,
in, you
even
know.
after I've fought and got it, they grab it back out of my hand and I have to fight for it again.
Yeah, because you deserve to be here.
I deserve to be here. You deserve to be here. What they say? Me count, you count, all of we count.
Yes.
We'll go with
I
the
go
census.
You take it like
Right.
that.
So,
I wonder how that is going anyway. The census.
well, we can always invite that
But
wonderful lady back.
back to see how is it
Yeah.
going? How is the response on the road? What's happening with it?
You haven't seen them in your area yet. I haven't seen them anywhere. I saw 3 people in red shirts looking, engaged at a place yesterday. But then when I looked good, I saw, I think there were digital people.
Oh.
I said, oh, census takers. But then I look and I saw a badge. Yeah, I saw that.
Taking census.
Yeah. So yes, I make mention of, I'm just making mention of the Honorable Peter Tosh, a day after his birthday.
The OM, Order of
Merit.
So all of them got Order of Merit, all of the singers.
You mean
Well,
the
the
3 of
wailers,
them?
yeah. It was Bob
Yes, I think Bonnie Whaler got,
is before he died.
yeah, man,
Okay.
more than one, if I think. Let me see. OJ, yes.
There was a OJOM, okay.
Right. Let me see what Mr. Marley got. Mr. Marley got Order of Merit. It's OM. So yes, you're right. They all got OM. But Bunny, who lived longest, received an extra for long living.
Yeah.
But no, for just the output. The output. So, a day after, we are making honorable mention of Peter Tosh. We're thanking him for the excellence of his contribution during the time he lived. It is a sad thing that the legacy of these great men is often hard to define, because between estate matters in terms of how their estate is handled,
Lord.
and sometimes even how Jamaica itself honors the cultural output, you have to search through the ashes to find traces of who they are, who they were.
Like what you said, trace through the ashes.
I have lyrical content
No,
too.
Lord. you have to go through the ashes and
Yeah,
sift
man.
through to find out.
Sifted.
Oh, my Lord.
All right, on that note, let us do our wrap up before the producer says anything else. No? Not too early? He was offering me an award, you see.
Award giving award?
He might try to give me an award. Early saying that an overtaking car has mowed down a woman in St. Anne and the driver has been attacked by a mob. Well, let me see. Is it in Brownstown? Because if it is in Brownstown, we are traumatized.
No, boy.
Oh, jeez. Overtaking car mows down woman in St. Anne. Driver attacked by mob. So it sounds like the driver had the decency to stop. Oh, jeez. You see why some people don't stop?
I just drive to the police station.
Just go to the police station.
But I remember that happened to a friend of mine, he was driving and he wasn't overtaken, he just met in an accident. And the people came down to kill him actually. He was injured in hand and thing, and it's a good thing his wife was there and said, do not kill him. That is what saved his life.
So hold on a minute. Why were they attacking the man who had been injured in an accident? He knocked over a soup pot?
Something like so. I remember what
Oh, there must have been some. Oh, jeez, wow. But you see, Percival,
And that's a long time.
this is not the note on which we want to end the show, but we were touched on it a little bit when we were in that other place. When people lose trust and confidence and are overwhelmed by the system's non-responsiveness to their trauma,
to what's happening to them.
we take things into our own hands.
Yeah, them say, boy,
And then innocent people will end up suffering. It's not meant to be like Israel of old, where every man did as he saw fit, because there was no king.
Now? Isn't that what is happening?
That's what's happening in Jamaica to some extent, yes. Sometimes you can't tell the king from the people because everybody doing the same lawless type of thing.
Boy.
Wow, all right. We are, however, saying thank you to those who have been chatting with us online and those who have joined us on air. Though we can't talk to you now, we're at the Ligani Club and there is some big event spoiling to start. Any minute now, you will hear one of the sound systems that Shamar says an energy hog, because they did start to warm it up a few minutes ago. This Thursday, of course, is our Friday. Our weekend begins today. The morning connection.
Just one
weekend
thing
begins
before,
today.
I don't
Oh,
want
well,
us to
what
miss
things
it.
you can do?
Human Rights Advocacy Group, Jamaicans for Justice. Remember they went yesterday, the day after us.
Yes.
It's calling for the Integrity Commission to be enshrined in the Constitution and for its investigative powers to be broadened to allow it to make arrests and conduct searches. We depend, what do you think? We depend the same wavelength?
Yeah, I didn't want them to make arrests.
You don't want them to make arrests?
Yeah. And they can already conduct searches.
Yes.
But that's interesting. We were saying give them true independence by, separating them from remove them from being a commission of parliament. When we were there, the committee members were saying that the independence that I am desiring wouldn't occur if they become a statutory body or agency, because they would still report to a minister.
Right.
But the truth is, there's no agency that doesn't report to a minister. Even if you are
independent, like the
if you
DPP.
are enshrined in the Constitution, like the DPP,
She reports to
you
the
still
Minister of
report-
Justice.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So I don't know.
So it's a non-argument.
It's not an argument. Even this, but this is the kind of system we want, which we could get under the republic model of government, is not immediately available. But in the meantime, what JFJ is saying is a very good alternative. Hardwire their functions into the Constitution.
So you can't just,
So
anybody
that
can come change it. You have to have a
You have
majority.
to have
like
a
you want to
special
change
way,
the way, like
right?
a referendum.
But
You don't think they're going to do that?
no, they won't do that. But they don't need to do that. They really don't need to do that. The Office of Utilities Regulation currently operates as an independent organization because the problem is when you report to the same minister who has responsibility for the area that you govern. So, for example, you couldn't put the Integrity Commission to report to, say, the Prime Minister's office, where he has like 6 ministries under him,
Yeah,
and he's the
OPM,
one
who
he's the one who would set,
Yeah.
who would determine the sanction. You would have to give them a kind of independence, like I must look at how the Electoral Commission works
Okay.
in terms of how it reports.
That's a thing of Parliament?
It's a commission.
Of Parliament.
It's a
But
commission
listen
of
to
Parliament.
this.
Well, how does
This
it
is
report?
Malawford said she was baffled.
She's baffled.
As
That's
to the
nothing
umbrage
new.
being taken by the commission to being asked to report to Parliament first. She said the impression was being given that unless the clause is removed, parliamentarians are complicit in corruption. When you read how the law empowers the commission and the functions and objects, I'm still trying to understand, why is it the picture being painted that unless we emerge from this deliberation and do away with the restriction and disclosure, then all of us would be complicit in corruption and would somehow be conspiring to disable the Integrity Commission from doing its work? What are they afraid of? That's a question that I'm asking.
All right, but even when, and we will do a better job explaining it next time. The problem is not that they report to Parliament. You must report to Parliament. The problem is that you are barred from speaking on a matter until you have reported to Parliament. So if Parliament gets the report and does nothing with it for 2 years, you are shut up. That is how it's been interpreted, and it makes sense. It should have provisions where if you report to Parliament, after you report to Parliament, 90 days after, 30 days after, 10 days after, you're free to do what you, you see what I'm saying? The problem is not reporting to Parliament. You must report to Parliament. Is the highest authority in the land. So you can't be ignoring Parliament.
Right.
But the reporting to Parliament should not stop you from reporting to the public, because Parliament is like a shortcut to the public.
Yeah.
Why not just go directly to the public?
Yeah, but
I've been trying to wrap up for.
Yeah, but it's important because that conversation is one. Because
we're going to do it.
perception
We're
drives
going to do it
reality.
properly. The senator was right. We should come back and go through it so they have an opportunity to really understand what is being said. Because that is the problem that the citizens have. It's a problem that I have. That things are happening. We know that if people really knew what was going on, we would want to change something. But we're locked out of the information until it's too late. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up with some of the words of wisdom from our people online. Conrad says that we need to be conditioning the minds of our people to a life. Oh no, I'm reading it wrong. He says we have been conditioned to experience a life of ungodly living.
Yeah.
That is true. And this St. Anne traffic disaster, an overtaking car has mowed down a woman in St. Anne. Driver was attacked. It happened in Bamboo, Lowell, your place of birth, almost. The truck stopped to let a woman cross the road and the car overtake the truck. Oh, jeez. All right.
Hard.
That is
Hard.
tragic.
But you know, just
Yeah.
to put our viewers, you are going, that they know,
Oh, that they're not going to hear my sweet voice.
and they might hear my sweet, my handsome, husky voice in parts. Because my husky voice.
Your husky voice in part is part husky, or you'll be coming on in part.
In part, some of the times, because I just want the viewers to know I'm in the process of trying to complete a very important assignment in my own life. And yeah.
So we we are going to be off for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 1 week and 1 day. 6 days. 6 days.
So it's all the next week?
Maybe 7. We return on the 2nd. But I don't know that we're going to come straight on air. So, well, you all take good care of yourselves and of Pastor Percival.
I'm going to miss
Taking
you.
a short break. I tried to get Percy to take a break with me.
I'm going to miss you. We couldn't take a
Yes.
break now. You know, a lot of things that are happening. But we
Right.
give God thanks.
So-
And, yeah, as we go, the America's tournament coming to an end. That's why there's so much activity, the netball.
Oh, is it? That's what's going to be going on over there in the tent?
I don't know, but I
All
know
right.
the Americas
We
are
shall
here.
speculate off air. Thank you all for sharing and joining with us. Have a great weekend, everyone. The Morning Connection is over and out.